Here we are with another Saturday Night Live. What's the date today? I'm lost today. Sorry. December 7th.
Pearl Harbor Day.
Man, oh man. Thanks for joining us, beautiful souls. Uh, Here we are again, as usual, Saturday night. And it's been quite a day with a few challenges to encounter, and that's okay. How's everybody doing?
Great.
Very good. Um, Let me just check this thing one more time here. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
Okay. So,
Yep.
how you feeling, Steve?
Good. Good. Still going pretty good. Still releasing tons of junk, unbelievable amounts.
Yeah. Don't even try to comprehend it. Forget it. It's
Actually, I had a colonic on Wednesday and I couldn't even fill. Something was blocking.
yeah.
Well, it's not blocking anymore.
It released.
Right.
Yes.
Awesome. It's
How-
Just
when,
big
you gotta,
blobs of junk.
Mhm.
yeah, we got to be careful when we can't get things moving. That's the biggest challenge when you're detoxing, when you get blockages.
Yeah.
Not fun.
First time.
Yeah.
First time.
Yeah, you're releasing nonstop, right?
You know, you
Oh,
got
it's amazing what's coming. Yeah, it's just mind blowing what's coming out.
you got all the small intestines, and then you have the large intestine. And when you're going through these deep, very powerful cleanses, master fasting, as we know, there's lots going on and movements and twisting and things trying to move out. And that could happen sometimes. And this is why we're so adamant about keeping those bowels moving. You don't
Yeah.
want anything to stop. It's not fun.
It can get a little bit uncomfortable. I mean, it's that
Ooh,
much,
Yeah.
but it's no big deal.
Without enemas and colonics in today's day, it's crazy.
I've been doing colonics from day one. I mean, back when I started in January. So, I mean, right along. It's the first time that I could not get a fill.
Yeah.
I mean, I had stuff coming out, but it was not solid.
Yeah.
But just no way we couldn't fill.
Yeah.
There's there's a point in the ascending colon, the point in the descending colon. You can see here. Okay, so it's basically midway on the ascending and midway on the descending. There's 2 points, and if you play with those points, what I do with a wooden dowel, burnt wooden dowel, I play in these points. It's basically where you're going into the psoas muscle, is that what it's called? And you dig in there, you will start getting huge releases. You got to play with those 2 points. That's what I find on myself.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, believe me, I don't have any problem with the releases. It's just that one, and I could feel it. I could feel it.
But when you
Oh my God, I just did a Kalima, and it's like wasn't pretty.
yeah, no,
That's all right.
when you're having these challenges, you work these areas, and there may be other points on the colon that you can find, and you got to work at them, and just dig in as deep as you possibly can without hurting yourself, and just move it in counterclockwise circles very slowly, and just work it in. And sometimes you just hold it there, and you'll see the colon just pulsating. So you get to learn this stuff after you've been playing with it for decades.
Yeah.
And you can find the spots. Colon therapist, a good colon therapist will be able to find these spots for you.
She's
I have a
pretty
friend-
good. She's been pretty good.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine who's been doing this probably close to 40 years now, and he knew exactly where to go on the colon to make it to allow it to open up and purge.
Yeah.
He just had that, he just had that sense right there, bang. So having a good colon therapist, um, is great. But when you're doing it yourself, just learn to do that and allow it to, do what it needs to do, because you don't want things to be stagnant, man. That's the not good place to be for long.
It was a nice little break. I'll say that.
Yeah, yeah. When you're purging a lot every single day, it starts to get uncomfortable, right?
It's been starting, not every day, but quite a few days, within 15 minutes of breaking the daily dry.
Mm-hmm.
How long is the daily dry?
I go 6 to 9, so 15 hours.
Dry
Yeah.
every
I start
day.
at 6 in the evening and I break 9 the next morning.
You're going a little bit up there.
Yeah, maybe reduce it a little bit because the body's purging a lot, right? It's a lot. I mean, a lot of release, So I totally believe that the more we dry, the more you purge.
And the drier, the more aggressive the
After.
fast, for sure.
Yeah. Well, it seems to be comfortable. I don't have any.
It's not the short
It's not a
term.
challenge. I mean, the 15 has not been a challenge at all.
Yeah, I know. It's not that. Everybody feels good in the dries, and then all of a sudden they run into the big challenges. That's what we've seen. Because
Okay.
it's a year, 2 years into this lifestyle is not much at all.
I know that.
Also, I believe, the reason you release a lot right now is because you're increasing your dry, and the dry really, get things moving after you start drinking. You release a lot of interesting things.
Oh, they were interesting, very interesting, and it goes forever, man. One day it went till midnight.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like
Nonstop.
a couple times of
You just shake your head. What is this for
3,
real?
4 times an hour. It's like, holy
Yeah.
shit,
It's amazing.
where's it coming from?
It's amazing.
Like, whatever, just go.
Keep it flowing.
Yeah.
Keep it flowing. Hello, we got Judith, Oliver, Margaret, Hans, Janet, Melinda, Uros, and Miranda, and Sheila. Hello, everybody. My throat's a little bit dry today. Been dry all week, and we keep digging and digging and digging and digging and digging. There's Christmas time around the corner, and everybody going cuckoo. It's just traffic's going nuts around this area because there's all shopping malls around here. But we keep staying focused. Judith, how you doing? Everything all right?
Hello.
Hello.
I'm good. I am struggling.
Challenges.
Yeah, I'm still going up and down. I've got good weeks where I do full MFS and weeks that I just do more full than MFS. But I'm having 2 weeks off in January.
Mm-hmm.
So like tomorrow, I'm starting again, day one again. I'm just learning and then trying to understand the message that that the universe has to teach me every time I feel like I fell off again out of the master fast. So it's a good journey in a way that I'm learning a lot, and my ego is learning a lot.
Beautiful.
So I'm focusing on that the past few weeks instead of putting a goal again and pushing myself.
Mhm.
But it's not easy because of course the next morning you wake up and everything is on my face, because that's my issue with me. It's whatever I eat, it's just gonna show straight away on my face.
Hmm.
um, and my only concern is that I'm really struggling to stay on a fruit even when I decide to eat, because I used to be a raw vegan and fruitarian for like 5 years before I found the MFS. But since I stopped the MFAs, like craving food, cook food, like vegan, it's massive. It's just running my life.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just one day at a time, because the more I push myself and use my ego, like I've done all my life, um, the harder it is for me. So I am planning to do a 5-day dry fast again. This would be my third one, I think, in the last year. In January, because I've got 2 weeks off. The first
5 day
week of
dry?
January, week. Sorry?
5 day dry, you said?
Yes, dry. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because that when after I do the 5-day dry, it just set me up for like I will say long term compared to doing MFS. And then this time I'm going with the dry. I just feel like every time I do those 5-day dry fasts, I have more knowledge
Yeah.
and more experiences.
Mm.
So I've got different experience from the fast itself and the after fast as well. The post fast as well is different. So yeah, my big issue is just when I do the master fast, I've got so much anger, so much sadness that come out of me, and I'm having a hard time to deal with them when I'm at work. And I spend 6 days a week at work.
Yeah, it gets
So
challenging. This is why people um, seem like they can't handle it, because all this emotional stuff starts coming to the surface, and a lot of it is ancestral, because we carry all
yeah,
that, and
hmm
people start freaking out and they don't understand what's going on, and they start going a bit cuckoo. But the fruitarian thing, I don't know any long-term fruitarians that last. I haven't seen any in 30 years I've been doing this. They all go off. But when you start cleaning at this level, you're digging to the root and seed causes. It's a whole different ballgame. The fruitarianism. Fruitarian's a diet, and we know with diets, this is why people do not sustain themselves with any raw food diet or fruitarian diet in general. There's very few long-term raw food or fruitarian people out there. It just it's the way it
but
is.
why I was not craving for cooked food then by then? Because now it's the only thing that I after the fast is the only thing. My big fast is the only thing. Well, I was on a fruitarian diet for like a year, and the second year I'm just struggling when I want to eat something. Food doesn't even appear me anymore. I mean, I enjoy it, but it doesn't satisfy my cravings.
You're staring out, in my opinion.
Fruit does not numb out like the cooked food. Cooked food is in a stronger GAN state field, and
Mm-hmm.
it seems to satisfy our emotions, but the problem is it's more obstructive in its physicality. That's the
Yeah,
problem. It's why it's so addictive, because the energy packets are much stronger than raw foods. But we don't want to keep doing cooked foods over and over, because we know what happens with cooked foods in the physicality. It plugs us up.
yeah,
That's why with the juice, we don't have to worry about that, because there's nothing physical. It's just liquid, and it just purges like nothing else on the physical, mental, and emotional planes. But this is just something we all got to keep working at. This is an ongoing thing. There's no um, destination. This is a journey, lifelong. I've been doing this 3 decades, and you're going to come up with all kinds of things, all kinds of challenges, all kinds of. You can just listen to people's stories on the board, man. It's just people who have all different kinds of experiences, because they're pulling up all these old, we don't want to call them traumas, experiences from themselves and through ancestral, and there's a lot there. There's a lot. So we either resist it or we embrace it and allow it to flow out. And that's why we say use the tools to help to pull you through. And enemas number one, breath work, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, in these challenging times. Are we gonna, you know, as we say, fall off, go for this, that, and the other thing every once in a while? Yeah, it may happen. But when you come to the realization, it's all part of the journey of all these emotions that come to the surface. We can not have to resist it, because a lot of people are resisting it, and some people just will keep resisting, and then tend to go back to old habits because they just want to numb it out. They don't want to feel those pains. Physical pains is much easier to handle than emotional pains.
Oh, yes,
Just
absolutely.
look, of course, look at the whole planet.
There
Look
you
at the
go.
state we're in. So, when you come to this realization, okay, pain is inevitable. But I posted it on Instagram, was it? Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. You have to understand that, what I just said. Pain is inevitable. Pain is how we learn, and why we came into this three-dimensional experience. Pain is part of this experience, physical, mental, and emotional pains. So if we understand that, when we go through these pains, what happens after? We come out stronger, always, 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 always. The challenge is that the these emotional pains seem so overwhelming and so dramatic to some people. They just want to cover it up with physical pain, and that's why we go reaching out and do all the things that we know that will numb us out, eating this, that, and the other thing that we know is not the best for us. But if we're going to do that, why resist it? Try and choose the things that will be the least obstructive and help you settle the emotion. That's why we say, okay, go to some cooked fruit instead, instead of the really heavy stuff, because it really does help settle the emotions. Cooked fruit,
Even savory fruits like zucchini.
yeah, all the different fruits, yeah. And instead of going to the heavier stuff, can you go see what she's doing? All the heavier stuff, which will not be happy the next morning, right?
Yeah, no, that's a big issue for me. And because I grew up in Europe, like potatoes, where Belgium, it's like France. Potatoes are kind of like the pasta for you, you know. So every time I'm really emotional, I want to eat something heavy. It's not even like sweet potatoes. No, white potatoes. The heaviest of all of them.
The best tasting ones, yeah, of course.
Yeah. So that is, yeah, I don't even understand, because I never been a big fan of potatoes when I grew up. That's why all the cravings that I have now is cravings that I don't understand where they came from.
Judith, there's an emotion attached to that flavor. Wherever you ate those, there's an emotion attached. It's not the physicality. There's an emotion attached. And that's where we need to go within and find and balance out why we're continuously going back to that. And the other thing that works for people is writing down and then burning it and sending it back to the earth for recycling. You may have to do that over and over and over for the same emotion to help bring that to balance energetically.
Yeah.
It's all wonderful. It's all part of the journey.
And then,
if it's too overwhelming, we go back to our eating lifestyle. Forget about fasting. If fasting's too overwhelmed for people, nobody's saying, this lifestyle is not for everybody. It's not for everybody. Doing it 3 decades. You know how many people I've had to interact with in 3 decades about fasting? You have any idea?
No.
And they all said,
A lot.
pretty much most of them said it's all negative. And a lot of these people are not around anymore. And I'm still going. I'd be dead if I didn't have a fasting lifestyle myself. So this is the lifestyle I choose. I live it. I love it. I fall off and I continue. I don't focus on the challenges that come forth, the emotions that come forth, you know. And in these past couple of years I've shared, it's been a huge roller coaster ride with what's been presented from the universe to me to take care of my mom and different things, right? Because I have nobody else helping
Yeah.
me. So what am I going to do? You see me giving up. You see me not showing up on Zoom calls. You see me not showing up on the page every day. You see me not showing up on Wednesday, every Wednesday on Facebook. I'm always continuously focusing on the place where we want to be. We want to be the change we want to see. Because if we keep focusing on all that other crap, that's what's going to keep coming. But we can't avoid challenges in this lifestyle. This is what we're here for. We're here to experience all that and express it. And it's all a beautiful thing. Or not. Depends how you look at it.
Yeah. And do you, I realized as well that I have that part of me when I start to fast the first few days, when let's say I'm on a fast for like a week or two, I have that, I don't know, maybe it's the little me who is talking to me, who feels sorry about myself. I feel kind of like, I feel sorry because I can't eat,
Yeah, I know what you're
and I
feeling.
feel sad
We've all felt those, Judith, all of us.
because I feel like I'm not part of the, I'm guessing it's all emotions, all that stuff.
Of course, we feel like we're isolated because everybody else is doing all the wonderful things of eating, drinking, and out partying, all that stuff, and we're saying, why emotionally we're having a challenge not being part of that, and that's why it becomes a challenge for a lot of people because it's completely opposite of what everybody else is doing, right?
Yeah.
But nobody can do it. Nobody else can do it for us. So we either choose.
Oh gosh, I wish someday someone could do it for me. So I can have a break.
Hey, you can stop fasting and go back to your ways, right?
But there's no way, Gino. There's no way. The feeling.
There's people who have
the
done
feeling,
it,
and then
it's maybe.
I mean, it's everything changes. It's my hair, it's my eyes color, it's my face, it's my body shape, it's my mind. It's just another person. There's no way.
Isn't
for
that
me, at least,
amazing? Yeah.
it's unbelievable. It's just like Walking Dead to like living again. Like living at least. Like
your senses are all awakened, and it's a whole different being. Exactly. You're not nothing what you were. It's a completely different experience. We were born numbed out. Let's put it that way. We were born numbed out.
Yeah.
Because
I get it now.
Yeah, and this is a big wake up call for people because they don't know how to deal with it and how to handle it because there's not many people living like this, right? But it's over 4 years. We've seen how many people shared their wonderful experiences, and it's all beautiful. It's all beautiful to me because I can relate to pretty much everybody's experience, all the different experiences people have, because I've been through so many of them. And for me, it's all part of the journey. That's the way it is. There's no smooth, straight rail, right? If that was it would be wonderful. And this is what we see that people have been selling out there. I've been watching for 3 decades. People are selling you all kinds of bull crap. 3 months, you're completely healed and blah, 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 or whatever, detox for 10 days and you're done. It's just total not, there's just not an understanding of really what it takes. I've shared the story many times. It took me 5 years to purge my deep lung mucus issue that I had my whole life. 5 years being on fasting and raw foods, and people are freaking out in a year or two on this lifestyle. It's nothing. It's nothing. We see massive transformation that people have done 108 days, but what happens after? They haven't prepared themselves. They haven't done their homework to come to the understanding of all the things that are associated with the journey, because it's not all smooth sailing. and
but I think we don't understand the deepness of the fast. when you go for 1 OA, you don't understand the deepness of the fast. For me, at least.
Yeah, this is why we really don't want to recommend people doing 108 days unless they're ready to go liquiditarian and not go back to food, or or once a week eating at the most. Because what's the point? So we got to hear everybody's caca. It's if you have the understanding, if you've done your homework, what's all this stuff is part of the journey. You're gonna focus on where you want to be. You're gonna work. Do the things and allow these challenges to be worked through and continue. And that's it, because we're all going to have challenges. There's no way around it. I haven't seen anybody not being able to do without any challenges. Like you look at the breatharian movement, if you want to call it that. The stuff that's I've seen some recommend, people are going cuckoo because they don't even have a proper cleansing program. So, you, no, I'm not telling people to go breatharian. What I'm saying is, you gotta come to the understanding that number one, we eat way too much food. That's number one. And
even fruitarians, huh?
Yep, we eat way too much food. Doesn't matter what food, we eat way too much food. And when you clean out that plasma vacuum tube, you will come to the realization of what I just said and what it really means. Because before you clean that out, you will not know. You will eat and you will eat and you will eat and you will eat.
Mm-hmm.
And you will not know what I just said until you've experienced it, like you have, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a completely different state.
I know one fruitarian who did the master fast, and he says not for 108, but he said that he eats way less fruits than he used to. And when he goes to like fruit festivals, it's like people eat way too much. And I believe we all started like that with fruitarian and raw food as well. Like it was way too much, right? Everybody knows who did raw vegan.
Yeah, you have to compensate, right, for the carbs and the thing that you don't get.
Sure. But when your body is clean, you really don't need to do that. I mean, when you're fasting, you just need a little bit, to keep you going, like as a lifestyle. You will know when you're fasting most of the time, and when you break your fast, you don't need to eat that much. Way less than.
Yeah, no.
The body loves to work, and it can only work with fields. So when we eat, we're forcing the body to do all that extra work to convert the physical matter into an energetic form so it can emit fields, so we can absorb the fields, because there's no physical matter that crosses that plasma vacuum tube. That's why we call it a vacuum tube, because nothing crosses that. The wall, as we've been told, that physical matter gets absorbed and all that. What goes in's got to come out, or it's going to be plastered into the GI tract and become part of you in that sense, meaning the body builds a mucus layer to protect itself because it's an assault to the body. And depending on the level of obstruction of the food you choose, it's going to have to protect itself with either a thinner or thicker layer of that mucus, because that's all that mucus layer does, is protect you from the physical assault. This is nothing that anybody's been teaching out there that I've seen. This is something that we've gained through our experiences with the new understanding.
Yeah. And something else that I'm struggling with is after being on a fast for like a week or so, that I'm starting to get, those good energy going really high. I feel like I go so high with my energy and the way I feel, and it's usually when I'm on a fast as well, that I don't know what to do with it.
Exactly.
Like the connection, the emptiness, and then it freaked me out.
Yes.
And then I have to bring myself down when I don't have to, but because I don't know how to deal with it, I just end up, breaking the fast as well.
So we need to learn to redirect and use that energy prudently. There's many ways you can do it. You know, you can you're sleeping less, this and that. So find things that you can be in service to others, to be fulfilled more, and spread that energy. Find ways that
Yeah, because it does actually make people around me at work, they can feel it when I'm in that high energy,
of
and they
course.
don't like it at all.
You know why? Because their soul understands that energy. Their physicality is resisting it.
Yeah.
The soul understands. The soul doesn't need any words. It works and feels. So of course
Okay.
they're picking it up. And they're being uncomfortable in the physicality because something's trying to wake them up to change things, and they don't want to change. They love being in that pain, misery, and suffering state.
Also, it's very important that you as well find your balance with the energy, right? You don't want your too many ups and downs with the energy, right? So
Yeah, but that's why I'm going through. That's why I'm having a hard time. Like I say, like I feel like this year, this year, I learned so much about the fast because I had so much experience with food, with fasting, that now I just have to put all that into practice now, but I just don't know where to start and how to do it. I just feel like I'm getting some key from there to there, and then now I have to put into practice all the messages and the experience I learned from this year of fasting and then eating.
Yeah, beautiful. Now, just think about what you said earlier about, you're in that beautiful state of energy and everything, high energy and all that. So we have to ask ourselves, why do we take ourselves down from that? Why? Because
I don't know what to do with it. I don't know what to do with it. It scares me.
Environments dictate outcome.
Yeah.
So we need to learn to harness and work with that energy so we can feed the limitless energy that when we're in that state to others. That's all we need to do. We need to learn to harness that energy, because if we're trying to hold on to it, we're going to get uncomfortable, and that's why we take ourselves down. We need to learn to release it and give it. This is the way the universe works. You can't contain it. You're gonna break the fast if you're trying to contain it. That's what I think you're trying to do, and that's why you say you need to break the fast. Because I've been there, and I'm only speaking through my experience. So that's what I'm trying to relate, so you have a better understanding of what's happening. So when you feel in that state, find something that you can do in service to help, whatever. Just find something you love to do. The other thing is, most people are not living their passion. So I'm going to ask you, are you living your passion in life?
No, not at all. And I'm aware of that. And I've been working on it, and I'm still working on it. So I know as well that my frustration and my, some of the reason why I was breaking the fast as well is some days I was so awake, about my life, about what I'm doing at work and in everything that, so the more I do the fast, the more I have that connection that just wake me up and then just make me, So I'm not living my for sure. I know that, but
all this is beautiful, Judith. Don't look at it as struggling or negative. It's all beautiful. Come to that understanding and work with all this. And in the meantime, go deep within and find your passion. This is why people are not being able to heal. They're not living their passion. They're going to go in circles and circles. They're going to jump from one thing to another thing to another thing to another thing, because they're not living their passion. When you can live your passion, things will start changing, because you'll have all that energy to work with doing your passion, right? And that's the key. We need to harness and work and live in our passion.
Yeah, but it's also you have to be we have to be gentle in the process, because you can't just stop what you're doing and do nothing, because you don't know what you love to do. So
I can't afford it anyway. So
we all have to make a living. We all got to pay our bills, all that stuff.
So do it slowly. Be gentle with yourself. Be loving. It's a journey, honestly, of self love and respect. It's a journey.
Yeah, that's why you posted as well, you know. You say it's not about the food. It's about self-love. It's something that I'm learning as well, because
We-
I never had that for myself.
Yeah.
Because I never had for my parents either.
Yeah, yeah. Like, you know, when we unleashed MFS to the world we thought was ready for this, and it's just we've seen that people are just not ready for the dramatic changes that this presents when you live it and love it. So we have to work at it baby steps, and we continue on that, and go
Yeah,
with that.
yeah. I mean, it has to be with stuff. For
Not-
us, even.
there's going to be a few people that will be able to jump on and go for it. It's going to be very, very few, but most people have to take baby steps.
I don't see any other way. Honestly, I don't see any other way. I don't see any other way than being gentle and loving and take it easy. You know, just you know, there's no reason to rush, and you know, it's a lifestyle.
You know, looking back, in all the season changes, I've rarely missed in all these 30 years. The thought was always like, oh, the season change coming up, and I couldn't wait to get into that state again. That was, you know, prior to, you know, mass fasting all coming through, but and that continues right now. I'm doing a season change on the dry, right, a little bit on the early side, but I've started that because these are the times where you work with the cycles of the planetary system and the universe, and it's very, very powerful to be in a natural fasting, master fasting state, we'll call it, and work and allow everything to prepare itself for that next season, because the earth is always going through these cycles, and we are going through many, many different cycles. There's daily cycles, there's weekly cycles, there's monthly cycles, there's quarterly cycles, there's you know, yearly cycles, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's many, many, many cycles. Everything works in cycles. You know, the body also has a 9-year cycle, right, where everything is completely regenerated or degraded in 9-year cycles. So depending on how we are living, but we learn to work with all this and embrace it all. Don't worry about um, these challenges. Don't look at them as struggles. They're not struggles.
Another thing is that, you know, like I would say most of us, I would say maybe 90%, maybe more, are living a very fast-paced lifestyle. Okay, we have to work, we have to do this, we have to do that. You have kids, or you have a husband, or you have, you know, a home to take care of. You have something that's always like, you have your work and your home. It's a lot of work today. I would say more than ever, and the distractions as well are more than ever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you are doing amazing. You have to, you know, you have to love yourself for the achievements that you have achieved so far. You know, um, we really are doing amazing with the baby steps. We're doing absolutely amazing, and it's okay to fall. It's okay to do mistakes. It's alright. Just, you know, get up. The reason you did a mistake is because, you know, your body needed more love at that time. It was challenged. It needed more love, and I guess, you know, you fell off. Yeah, instead of resting, you ate. You know, instead of sleeping, you went to eat, and you feel horrible, and you know, like you kind of blame yourself. No, it's okay. This is all part of learning, and we are here coming together. We have to support each other with the baby steps. It's all about the baby steps. We have to support each other with the baby steps.
Yeah.
You know, like the person who does 2 days a week master fast, great. As long as they, you know, and not as long. I mean, great anyways. but let's do our best to be persistent and patient, and never give up. Never give up.
Yeah. Something that I'm struggling as well is because I understood now after a year of pushing myself to do another one away, that my body is not ready for it. But
Emotions are
somehow
not
I feel
ready.
like, yeah, it's
It will
true,
not
my
get you anywhere,
emotion.
108. Nowhere. It will not get you anywhere.
No, it's just for me, it just gave me so much healing and peacefulness and forgiveness and enlightenment in my heart as a being. That is
Yeah, but then
that's
you have
the
to break it.
sorry?
But then you have to break it.
Yeah, I know I have to break it.
And
I
then
know I
you
have
might as
to
well keep
break
the
it.
same cycle.
But I believe that this round around, I learned a lot about breaking the fast that I didn't prepare myself for the first one. I mean, I thought I was ready for it, but I was not ready. I was good for 2 months. So for 2 months, I was just eating 1 day a week. That was amazing. Then after that, slowly I starting to add more and more days until like doing like 6 months of just eating every day, nearly. Um, but what were we talking about before? Oh, I don't remember what I was going to say. Oh yeah, I feel like I'm having a hard time to decide. So I wanted to do like deciding the lifestyle, Rana, like you always say all the time, decide the level that you want to do and stick with that.
Mm-hmm.
And in my head until now, it's like a long fast or it's nothing. And I can't, and I'm aware of it, but I just can't stick at sitting down, picking, like one style and then go with that.
How many long fasts have you done?
So my first one was 1 away. Then after that, I did a 60-day, a 30-day, 47, I think. The last one was probably 20 days.
What was the similarity between all of them?
Sorry?
What was the common thing about all of them? That
The common thing?
we are not able to break them properly.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. I'm aware of all that, but my ego, I just can't start. I just can't pick a level and then go with that.
Okay, don't. Yeah, okay, but sit down and you by yourself decide what do you think is the optimal lifestyle. The lifestyles that we offer, like in the protocol, are just to help give a little bit of structure, But there's some like for example, Mariam did 5 days on, 5 days off, 5 days on for a while, and she loved it.
Yeah.
She didn't want to
Yeah.
do a specific level, but she did her own style, and it worked for her. So sit down, and this is the thing as well. We are not, because we're living like a fast-paced kind of lifestyle with work and home and our responsibilities. We're not able to sit down and take care of ourselves, and through meditation and prayer and just calming the mind and learning from all the ups and downs. Sitting down, making notes. Okay, I broke my fast this time because this challenge happened. So now you're aware. What am I gonna do next time when this challenge happens? Because it's gonna happen again. And I did that today. For what, 10 days now? I've been doing Master Fast hybrid. My family came. I ate one day, and then I found myself eating the second day around them, and then third day. You know, it's
Yeah.
yeah. So and I was like, yeah, but I did like hybrid at least. I did hybrid. I didn't like go crazy with the food, and did my best to keep it clean.
Yeah.
Because that makes a huge difference in terms of the cravings. When I eat from outside, the cravings are crazy. The oil and the heavier food. At least
Yeah.
food, I know it's in it. I love it. I enjoy it. Okay, next time I do like the second day I do a hybrid again, and I limit how many hours I eat. So like you have a little bit of limit. Still gentle on myself. You have to be gentle. You have to love yourself and understand why that happened and what are you gonna do next time when it happens again, because it's going to happen again. My family, I'm gonna see them again, and
Yeah.
what's the best thing to do? What's the best thing to do? Either I bring my food or I fast.
Let's look at it this way. if we all went back to live like the Aboriginals, I can assure you 90% of all these emotional challenges everybody has would balance themselves out very quickly and easily. It's all this modern day living
Too fast.
away from nature.
Nature, yeah.
So fast and
Okay, now,
Yeah.
most of us are not going to be able to go back to that type of lifestyle. There's a few people would probably, jump into that and do that, and that's fine. But so how are we going to bring that balance to us in this modern way of living? That's the question you have to ask yourself. And you're going to have to find things to allow yourself to be expressed and balanced out with whatever nature's around you. And if it has to be just watching it on a freaking computer and meditating on that, then do that. But or if it has to be walking in the forest or in the jungle or diving in the ocean, to go and do that. Whatever it is, we have to connect with nature somehow. If you look at my personal profile page, I'm always looking at animals. Always. They bring me so much peace and balance. Just looking at the marvelous, amazing, beautiful creation in every speck of them. Just look at the animals and the intricacy of them, the insects, the birds, all of the small animals, the big animals. Look at them. They're just amazing. And that's what I love to do.
Yeah.
Since I'm not living in a natural environment, that we're living in a pretty busy area here. It's not as busy as downtown Toronto, but it's getting there. It's getting pretty crazy up here.
So it's one thing to connect with nature, but it's another thing also to allow to reduce the stress that's in your life.
Yeah, meditate. You can get into the fields of nature.
Yeah.
Somehow you got to find that way.
Like find what stresses you in your life. We all have stresses all the time. And say, okay, I have to manage it. I have to manage this. I have to manage that. I have to, so that this way I have way less stress because it's not worth it. It's costing us our health. Forget the fast.
Like,
Any diet, it's gonna cost you your health. When you have, your life is full of stresses. So manage your life better. If you can't, maybe get some help as well. Like. I believe that's very important because otherwise it's just too much. And you want to be in peace within yourself, of course. So loving ourselves and then loving our partner or whatever person around us, and like within our home and then outside our home. That's another thing, that's something very important for us to work on. We have to be loving to others. Before we are able to love others, we have to love ourselves. We have to respect ourselves. So there's a lot of work for every human being, in my opinion. You know, regardless of what diet, what's fasting or not. Fasting does, of course, connect us because we're not numbing ourselves so much anymore.
Just if you look at the what's called the health industry in general, and we see how much sickness is in that, and you see all the people involved working in it. They are some of the sickest people around, generally. Doctors' average age is like 50 years old. And then you will look in what they call the alternative. You don't see much difference. People that are involved in, what do you call it, alternative healing modalities. What are we dealing with? We're dealing with a bombardment of imbalanced emotions. And everybody's trying to work with it through some sort of adding some matter to try and solve these strong emotional imbalances. It's just industry designed to continue to expand and balloon bigger than ever because it doesn't work if we haven't noticed yet. After 100 years they've been doing this, it doesn't freaking work. So here we are, little Master Fast, the family closed themselves up and going into the realms, the limitless realms, I like to call, where very few have gone and very few would even attempt to go. And putting that intent and emotion to be the change, be that change. And that's all we're doing. That's all we're doing. Moving in that place of peace, balance, correct conduct. That's all we focus on. Do we make mistakes? Freaking right, we make mistakes. And as soon as we can recognize them, we do our best to try and correct it, because we haven't been taught to live in peace, balance, correct conduct. We haven't been taught. If you go deep within and ask yourself what's peace, balance, correct conduct, it's a question that has complete answer. It has a knowing. But in this physicality, through the intellect, you ask 100 people, you're going to get 100 different answers. Oh, is it right to kill somebody else who killed somebody? And this, and it just goes on and on and on. But if you ask the soul, there's a knowing. There's no misinterpretation by the bullshit language that we use, or any other languages. So it's all corrupted. So, we're working in this physicality with these languages, and we're going to do the best we possibly can, because we came here to experience this. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. And it's all going to make us stronger spiritually when we come to recognize that it's all part of the journey. And as long as we have the intent and emotion for peace, balance, correct conduct, and continue to work towards that as best we possibly can, we're going to follow as best we possibly can, we are going to be at a much better place. And on the soul level, we're going to be much better content. That's why I asked you before, are you living your passion? Because the soul is beating the drum of inspiration for everybody. And most people are moving away from that. And they're not going to find balance because they're not living their passion. So is it about the diet? Well, no, it has nothing to do with the freaking diet. The diet's just going to get in the way no matter what diet you use. And it's just going to be an excuse. Eating a cleaner, lighter diet, it's going to be beneficial for sure. We know that. We've seen that, right? Being in the raw foods and fruitarianism and so on and so forth. But it's not sustainable because of everything we've just talked about. It's not freaking sustainable. I've not seen, there's maybe 2 or 3 people that I know are long-term raw foodists, 20 plus years. Something like, there's not many. And I've been at this a long time. I did it for almost a decade. It was a great, wonderful experience. But as I've shared before, I couldn't wait to do my next fast because it didn't matter how clean I freaking ate. My body said, okay, it's time for a break. Yeah, it's time for a break. And that's why I continue to live it and love it. Fasting, I could not let it go. If I said today, that's it, I'm not fasting ever again, I'm going to eat 7 days a week, I don't think you'd see me more than a couple of years around at the most, because I know how my body feels eating 7 days a week. It's absolutely horrific. It doesn't matter how clean. It's just, it loves to work with the fields directly instead of having to convert matter into fields. And that's the difference. That's my understanding. I could be all wrong. This could be all bullshit. And this is an all illusion that we're living. All the people who straightened out their bones, corrected their nerves and grew and all that, it's all bullshit. It's all an illusion. It is. It's all an illusion. We've all been duped. Everybody's lying, right? We have people out there that are, done fast, master fast, whatever, and they in their mind they're falling all apart, and it's the fasting or whatever that's done that. That's what they believe. They don't understand that it's all the decades of how they've lived and bombarded their body. They can't come to that recognition and conclusion. They have to blame the fasting. They have to blame the fasting.
But you can feel the difference. I mean, when you're on a fast, when you do a long one, you can feel the difference of being awake,
Judith,
you
there's
know,
people
being loved.
bashing me and Master Fast left, right, and center out there.
Yeah, and they were praising you and the master fast when they were doing it.
Yeah. So what
That's
does
so
that tell?
strange.
It's
But
not
the
strange.
experience spoke for itself, no?
We've all seen
That's for
the
me. That's why I'm still
experience.
hanging out there.
We've
Like the
seen
experience was too real
we
to
can
go
see,
back.
yeah, we can see the transformations in people. But what happens when they go back to food? They go through these freaking challenges that we're all talking about, and they don't want to come to the recognition to work with it. So they have to point fingers at something. And I'm a beautiful target, right? Especially me. I'm a wonderful target.
Yeah, so that's why we have now the structured, different lifestyles, different levels, so that people can choose with no long fast, because
There's no point.
we are not ready.
Tired of
Listen,
listening to that crap.
seriously, we are not ready for a long fast. We are not ready. Humanity, the majority of us are not ready for a long fast. I'm not. If I want to do a long fast, it's gonna be liquidarian.
The
That's it.
the bombardment of emotions, people take things personally. I have gone through so much of this that I have to just step back, and I've learned to ask myself what's happening on the field side, because the physicality is a freaking bullshit illusion, and it has nothing to do. It's only the effect that we're seeing, and it could be the worst possible thing. And we have to step back and elevate the souls around us for when there's things happening that we can't explain, where in modern medicine they throw you in a cuckoo bin or whatever, because intent and emotion is creation, and intent and emotion can move mountains, but there's no reason to move the mountain because it's in the place where it's supposed to be. Just talk like it's we're all gonna we're all evolving and learning to come to a better understanding of what goes on. I've gone through a lot of different techniques and things, people working on the emotional side, and it's very difficult to work on just the emotions and not doing anything with the physicality, from my experience. When you work on the physicality, it's much more potent, but you have to be ready. You have to have done your legwork and come to the understanding of what may come to the surface. And when you're prepared for that, and you have a support system that you can work with, like right now, we're all blabbing and talking, supporting each other, inspiring each other, and that's all we need to do. Because out there, it's not available. It just isn't. I've been 3 decades. It's not out there.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's easier for people to just be out there, right? Because to sit with yourself,
Yeah.
I compare it, like Judith, you were saying, like, well, if they've experienced the freedom that MasterFast brings, like, how could they even blame anything on the system? And I compare it to, this is just my thinking, I don't know what you guys think, but I compare it to like sitting in silent meditation for long durations and having to look at what is truly within us. And then that stirs up so much fear. I've been there. I've wanted to run out of those meditation centers just looking at what is within myself. And I feel like it's the same thing, and my question is to you, Gino and Rana, is like, what is your perception like when you're, say, a beginner on this journey, on the days that you're fasting? Is there a way to view it as not like a lacking, like, oh, I'm missing out on eating?
Those thoughts will still go through the mind. They still do. They don't go away, but you learn to say, okay, wait, you're full of shit, man. That has nothing to do with me. Start having some dialogue.
Or I love you so much.
Yeah. Or I just love you. Let me give you a hug. Whatever. Find something that you can have a laugh with, because they're not going to stop. We've been programmed to the freaking hill. Like you, Jenna, in that last post you made, Jin,
Yeah. Thanks.
You know, what I've seen there is you have a passion that you want to do, and you're not living that passion, and you're uh, going through frustrations, I believe, because you're not living that passion. Like you would rather be working with children in Aboriginal centers or whatever, places, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And then when you had just mentioned like, oh, you're not living your passion, about 5-10 minutes ago on this meeting
Yeah.
call, I was like, okay, but people need to also understand that there's a certain amount of rationale we have to come like to this life with. And I was one of these people that, and still am. I'm a dreamer. I have many dreams and fantasies for my life, but I think with the master fast system and some of my new meditation practices over the last few years, I'm starting to realize that about myself, and that I need to be a little bit more reasonable and realistic with my thinking. And structure is very important to me, and I've learned that now. I was in these long-term relationships with these men. I had 4 like long-term relationships that were like marriages, in my opinion, 4+ years. The last one was 7 years. I've been single for 4 years now. And it's like, well, why was I with all those men? Well, they brought that masculine energy of like security and routine and structure. And it was just like, I was like a codependent person. Like I was like, oh, I need to get that from you, because I don't have that within me. So where is the balance between living your passion and then, being realistic with, like, I look at all the opportunities I've developed here in Toronto in terms of like, supporting myself financially as a single woman. And there's something to be said that about like the beauty in these relationships that I've formed and these opportunities that I've created and the comforts that I enjoy. My inner queen, she likes a certain amount of comfort.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a matter of like, we need to take our time with our passions, but also like work toward them.
Mhm.
And I think for me, I have to like release so many layers and layers of, these things that are just not serving me anymore. Like the comfort of having like, I have like 10 winter jackets. Like who in their right mind needs to own 10 winter jackets? So
Yeah.
anyways, I guess this is just where I'm at and what I've been questioning lately in my life. But you hit it right on the head, Gino. Like I totally just want to be out in nature. I want to be under the stars every night, dancing or having bonfires, burning away all my emotions, writing them down on pieces of wood and burning them, But sometimes I worry that I'm a little too much of a dreamer, and that I could
Yeah.
also learn to be happy with what I have.
Yeah. Yeah. We must learn to just be content and happy no matter where we are, and slowly work to try and achieve those passions. If we really have a strong intent and emotion, it will manifest. But wherever we are, we do the best we can, in the environments we're in, and that's all we can do. So,
Or maybe
um,
fall in love with what you're doing.
yeah,
That's the other thing is like, thank you, Rhonda. That's the exact thing that I've been doing. It's like, okay, well, what am I doing that I want to keep doing because maybe it's financial mostly. That's the main motivation. But how can I bring to the table some sort of service, And I think I've always been this way. I'm a generous person, almost to a fault sometimes. And every single interaction I have with a person, if I could leave them feeling, like maybe a little bit lifted, like never lower. That's been my goal, is like if they come into contact with me, they're not left lower. They're left feeling, embraced and supported and loved. And so that's where I bring my service to the world,
wonderful.
Beautiful.
And continue.
Yeah, you can find fulfillment wherever you are. And
Of course.
I don't know, like it sounds like with Judith, thank you for sharing earlier. You made me think about like your work environment, and sometimes like, it's the same people and they are just not open-minded at all. Like, I don't know how you're handling that. It sounds like it's pretty difficult. Is there any sort of service you could bring to that workplace or?
Yes and no. I would love to, but I work in a, so I'm a beauty therapist and I work in a salon here in Sydney, Australia. But we do only body, so we don't touch hair. So it's all about peels and facials and manicure pedicures. But we work for we're working for, it's like a celebrity place. So it's very, very high domain. It's very stressful, extremely stressful and very, very demanding. And the lady who owned the place actually created that business. It took her years to create whatever she created there. And then the place itself has her name. So she gave her name to the salon. So whatever we want to bring in the salon is going to go under her name. So she's going to put her name on it. And that is not something that I want to happen. And then she will make it work for her, because we are every month we're in a magazine, the Vogue magazine, the Bazaar magazine, or stuff like that. So every month, whatever we do or whatever new stuff she brings in the salon, new treatments and everything, it's gonna go in a magazine, but it's gonna go under her name. But because I wanted to create in my own way, if I share whatever I want to share and then bring in the salon, she will make it, she will change it. It's not going to be my way anyway. The idea is amazing. I'm pretty sure the idea is amazing and she's going to love it. She already told me about it and she wanted me, because she always said to me, I can see so much power in you. And that's why she took me actually to work for her. But the thing is, if I bring my idea, she's going to take my idea and mix it up in her own way and then put it out there. That's it.
Yeah, no, you don't need that. Those are your precious ideas too.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you have any time to moonlight? It doesn't sound like, you can't like reduce it to a part-time position, hey, and then like moonlight a little with your own thing.
I'm trying to do it online, to start doing part-time online.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, but I have to do the full course. So I just started the full course like maybe 2 weeks ago.
Oh, cool.
So starting to do online, then hopefully then I can do it full-time by myself and then go, freelance by myself. But for me, when I'm on a fast as well, that's the thing. It's like he wake me up like so deep that the fact that I don't live my purpose kind of like, it's just intense. It's really, really intense. But before I forget, I just want to quick touch on something that Rana said earlier, is to learn to quiet your mind, which I realized it's actually very important for me, because I can't sit with my own thought without putting any music, without listening, without, reading a book. And then that's the fast as well who made me realize all those little stuff that I'm learning about myself. It's every time when I go, on a fast and I come out of the fast, I just learn something from it. And then I learned like probably 6 months ago that I couldn't sit with my own thought, because I grew up in such a negative environment at home. And then the only thing I heard from my parents, especially my mom, it's negative. So if I feel like if I don't, sorry.
Yes, sweetheart.
We're here for you, buddy, sweetie.
Thank you so much for sharing this. You feel like if you don't take your time, there's no rush.
I realized so much stuff about me that I was very aware of.
See, you're holding on to a lot of stuff, Judith, and it's just great to release it all.
Honestly, we all are, sweetheart. We all are.
Yeah, let it out, baby.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's crazy. You need to let it out.
Just let it flow until there's no more tears.
Aw, I love you, Judith. Thank you for your vulnerability here. It shows your strength,
You will find your passion, because your soul is singing, and you're listening. It's just you have some challenges in the way that are you need to find a way to work through, and it'll come because you put all your heart and it's going to be. It's just
Judith,
don't worry about how long. Just keep focusing on it.
It starts at home, sweetheart. It starts at home.
See, this has nothing to do with fasting or diet, Judith. As you see what we're talking about? This is the whole
you know,
lifestyle that we work with the fields of plasma love always flowing. That's what we work with.
you know, the majority of us have had really tough times, you know, growing up.
Yeah, you know, some of us have been beaten up and so on and so forth, and some of it was good, you know.
Emotional, yeah, it's that
Judith, were you the?
hardest
Oh, sorry, Rana. Go on.
I believe that's the biggest challenge for us, you know, how we were raised.
Yeah, for sure.
Everybody has a story.
Everybody has a story.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, Judith, are you the type that is motivated by negative motivation? Like, is that why? Look at the job you have and look at what you're
Yeah.
like. Is that what made you persevere? Like, maybe if that didn't happen, you know, you wouldn't be the beautiful, strong woman who's achieved so much.
Oh yeah, I am grateful for the life I had. Seriously, to be honest, all the challenges that I had even when I was on the first master fast, actually probably day 80, between day 80 and day 90, I wanted to go back home because I was living in London at that time in my first phase. I wanted to go back home to Belgium because that's where I grew up, to go and then forgive and then tell my parents that I forgive them because they kicked me out of the house when I was really young. So, and I never saw them, even talked to them after that.
How old were you?
I was 17.
Wow.
Oh my
But
God.
I was adopted as well. So it was from my adopted family. Because I was adopted from Africa.
Yeah. And you still
Yeah.
haven't spoken to them?
No. But when I was on a master fast, I had so much like awakening moment from, you know, my childhood and what I've been through. Even, you know, like always my sister said the same as well. My sister Grace said, you know, actually that adopted parents adopt us, you know, they were mean with us and whatever, you know, they've done to us to make us become the people we be, you know, the lady that we are now, because we are, we're doing so well for whatever we've been, you know, we've been through our life. But like I was saying earlier, the fact that I realized that I can't stay with my thought, I can't sit, you know, without having anything to distract my mind, is because I'm talking, it's only negative stuff that coming out of my, you know, if I don't distract my mind, because that's how I grew up. I grew up in an environment where it was so negative that I had that you know, I kept that way of talking to myself and that negativity. So that's why for me, after Jeanette said, you know, that it was hard for her when she was doing those long meditation where she had to sit with herself and her thought. It makes sense why I can't meditate.
Yeah. You can start with more gentle ones.
I was like, goodness me, I've been trying for years. It's something that I'm struggling to just do, even just 10 minutes. It's just so hard for me.
Maybe just embrace where you're at. In the beginning, I had to do Deepak Chopra's Soul of Healing, which is like a CD.
Yeah.
Like it's entertaining too for the mind, right? Like,
yeah.
And by doing that every night, every single night before bed for like 2+ years, suddenly I started to be able to change my internal self-talk. Your story sounds unbelievable and super sad, might I say, to leave your parents and never, you know, see them again like that. I can't even imagine what you've been through. And I've been through, you know, not to compare, but it's like I've had my little traumas, right? But it's like, it sounds like what you went through is way more traumatic. And I still lived with like constant negative self-talk and constant victimhood, and I'm still dealing with the inner victim, you know.
How do you go to that? How do you try to pass that?
The inner victim?
Yeah.
Oh, I have my ways. There's so many things. Master fasting was definitely part of it. Before that, I did 2.5 years raw vegan. Some of the other stuff is a little, controversial. I don't know if I should share here, but we can always we can always direct message each other and things.
Yeah.
But yeah, like just doing whatever I can to heal myself, and a lot of those meditation like apps like Yoga Nidra, and yeah, those are the things. Yoga, a physical yoga practice, because I couldn't sit with my thoughts. I needed to be moving. Like that was my only way of meditating. It was like a moving meditation. It kept my mind distracted, you know?
Yeah.
So you ease into it, right, over the years. But no, it sounds like you're in a really great place, being able to release emotionally in front of all of us. Maybe you feel supported and safe here, but like I'm nowhere near where you are. I can barely release emotions in front of anyone. I'm very scared to show like who I truly am a lot of the time. I'm even nervous to like talk on camera, like between us. It's very bizarre. But we continue to learn and grow,
Meditation is 24/7. We're always meditating, so that's the way I like to look at it. But Judith, your birth parents, you don't know them?
No, I was with my mom. So I was born in Africa, Rwanda.
Uh-huh.
And then my mom separated from my dad when I was 5 years old. Then, they had a genocide in 93, 94
Oh, yeah.
in Rwanda. And then that's when we left the country. But anyway, we just actually I was really not even with adoption. I was just selling children.
Wow.
So I actually just got in touch with my mom not long ago, a few years ago, when I went back to Europe, because I left Australia I left Belgium for the first time. I think it was in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
And then I lived in Australia for 6 years. Then I went back to Europe, and then I went to London. That's where I did my first MFS.
Right.
Then I came back. But yeah, no, I did meet my mom, my real mom, like my biological mom, who is, she came to Europe, but she's back in Africa now. And then, I'm hoping to go to Africa this year in August, next year, 2020, because I feel like as well that a lot of things are going to release for me to go there and then connect, because my sister went by herself last year for the first time, and she actually called me at the airport and crying. She's like, I feel home for the first time in my life. So,
you guys,
but I know that it's part of my my healing process as well to just go back home. But I don't want to go back just for like a few weeks. That's why as well I have to live my purpose in a way that the way I want to live my purpose to be allowed me to travel and to be, to be there for like at least six months if I want to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I do have contact with my mom, but it's hard because she's feeling guilty because she was not aware she was giving away her child when it happened. Because it was a kind of like Red Cross or those kind of company who were there in Africa and then taking the children away to keep them in a camp and blah blah blah. And whatever happened after that. So my mom was not aware she was giving us away. So seeing her was amazing, but she's feeling guilty,
right,
for whatever happened to us.
Sure.
And then so it's really hard to open up and then talk with her and have like a real meaningful relationship where we can be free with my questions and and sharing our experience, because she's just not ready. She just need to forgive herself first and accept that she did the best that she could do at that time. And we never complain. I mean, we had an education, we lived in Europe, we have an European passport, you know what I mean? So for us, we don't see it as like she did something wrong, but she still see it that way on her side.
You can help her, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah. And then the good thing is like she's on a fruit now. And then the children, she's eating fruit now.
Oh,
wow.
awesome.
Yeah, so because she was, when my sister went to Africa, she was sick a little bit, and doctors were giving her medication and everything. And then my mom has this she had a massive big heart, so she keep like getting children from the street and just bring her at home and then live with her, and then she take care of them.
Mm.
And then she was forcing the youngest one to drink milk, and my sister was like, "No, what are you doing?" And and they didn't want to drink milk because they were sick all the time after drinking
Right.
the milk. They were not feeling good, and they're still young. So we told her to stop to giving the milk, and of course the fruit there. They have a avocado tree, mango tree, papaya tree in a garden, but no, they have to go in and buy.
I know.
But now the eating, I will say 80% is fruit.
Awesome.
And then my mom is not on a medication anymore, so that's pretty good.
Very good.
Yeah.
It's the same story. All these people that live in the warmer climates have fruit trees all over them, and they don't eat any of it. It drops to the floor.
Yeah. Yeah. My mom was saying, because my sister loves avocados, and because she's a vegan, but mostly she does 50-50 of fruit and vegan cooked food.
Right.
And she loved mangoes, and they have mango tree as well.
Wow.
And then my mom, I was like, "What are you eating that? That's food for poor people." My sister was like, "Well, I'm happy to be poor in this country because." But yeah, it's really strange, a perception of food.
Yeah.
But once again, it's all about how they educate themselves,
Perception, yeah.
from the beginning. Yeah. So, but yeah, thank you for listening to me, guys. By the way, that was not expected, but thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, and then Rana, I'm still gonna do a Zoom, I promise. I just still.
Awesome. Yeah, whenever you want.
Yay.
Yeah, whenever you
Yeah.
want. No pressure.
It's more for the person, just to release than anything else, and to share.
But I'm aware of it now, I'm aware of it, that it's all about the releasing, the fact that you share. But yeah, I still have a lot of acceptance to do. But because my first MFS, to be honest, my first one away, it really changed me as a person. And I had so much awakening about my life and my past that I feel like if I come on a Zoom and I don't share everything that I've been through, it's not worth it for me to come in a Zoom. But there's a lot of stuff that I'm not ready to share publicly yet.
Yeah, there's no rush. People will share
Yeah.
when they're ready.
Yeah.
But it's like, just think, if nobody shared none of their experiences, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
and the fact as well that you're releasing, I know as well that it will help me. It will help me a lot to share all that and release it.
Exactly.
So I'm holding on my caca, Gino. Sorry.
Hey, this is what we come to, this realization that we all hold on to caca, and some of it is pure caca because we just make it up in our heads. It's not even real, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we have to come to, that realization, and let it out, release it. Learn to have new dialogue with that ego. The more we do, the more we catch ourselves, the more we will catch it, and the more we'll have the dialogue to correct that, and the more we'll be able to ride through these challenging times. And that's the way it is. I've had many, 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 many challenging times, and we continue to move forward because it's all beautiful. All of it is beautiful, the whole experience, even though some people will interpret it as whatever else they want to interpret it. Healing reactions, most people see them as negative. I'm not one of those persons. Jump for joy. The healing reactions, most of them are emotional, right? The physical ones,
so
they can be challenging, but the emotional ones, man, oh man, they take people for a ride, like big time.
Yeah. Because the physical one, you're so right, because the last MFS, I think I did a post, and after when I went back and I read the post, it was my ego was talking again. But I went to very, you actually recommended me to slow down
Mhm.
my master fast with green juices, because I was emotionally, I was really, really weak. I was throwing up a lot. And then a few times I nearly fell on the floor because I just didn't have, I didn't have any energy. But I pushed for like 2 weeks before I can say myself, okay, Judith, you're allowed to slow down, get some drink juice. But to be honest, I was like on the floor of pain.
Mhm.
But I just kept pushing, because like the physical, like you said, it's easier than the mental. Once I have an issue, like not an issue, but once I got to like an experience with the master fast, mentally a challenge, it's gonna take me a few hours before I decided that I'm gonna break the fast. But
Mhm.
like the physical part, look at me, I pushed like for 2 weeks, and it's only because you said to me slow down, and I slowed down. I was ready to keep pushing.
Next time I'll come to push.
Yeah.
It's
Anyway,
handy,
thank you.
handy, Judith. It's handy sometimes to set your mind to something, you know, and like stick to it. But then you got to
But
know.
that's just me. That's why I'm having a hard time to pick even
I know.
a style with the MFS, the level, because for me it's one way or the other. I'm
Yeah.
having a hard time to get a balance,
Yeah. You'll
you
find that
know.
gentleness. You'll find that like, you know, you're caring for yourself. Like you have to pretend like you're caring for like a little child. How would you treat that 5-year-old? Would you push them so hard, even when they're on the floor, you know?
Yeah, I do sometimes have that mindset, but seriously it doesn't last long when I try to talk to myself, to the little child. And it really happened when I do meditate in the morning before leaving the house. I have then that connection with myself and that self-love for me during the day, and I will talk to myself in a gentle way. But because I don't meditate very often, it doesn't happen very often.
I hear you.
Yeah.
It's interesting
Anyway,
how we hold on to stuff that once we can realize and we can let it all go, everything starts to change. Um, with your determination, um, you are coming to the realization of your true potential, and just keep going. Like the levels that we choose, um, don't think it's going to stay the same for the rest of your life. It's going to be continual changes. It's not going to ever be static. It's going to be dynamic. It's going to be changing all the time. You're going to be expressing
yeah.
yourself in different ways, right? So,
yeah.
you may go for a certain way for 6 months or a year, and then you start changing to something different and expressing in a different way. And that's okay, because we don't want to be stagnant. We don't want to be always the same. Um, like the dry fasting, you know, I kept pushing myself, pushing myself, pushing myself to expand and expand. This is for many, many years, right? And then in this past year, I've been taking more breaks than I would normally take, and that's okay. And get back on. It's sometimes you're gonna. Don't like using the word push, but really getting a strong motivation to really go hard, and you do that for a year or so, and then you may want to back off for a while, and that's okay. But the falling down times is the challenging times for everybody, and those we want to avoid as much as possible. And when we do, we want to choose uh, the things that will give us the least challenges. And that's all we can do, you know. So we have all the tools available for doing that. Um, is a fruitarian lifestyle going to make you happy, being 100% fruit? I've not seen much. I've only seen that word temporary, like I was talking before. But it's wonderful. If we all had fresh, ripe fruit available growing all around us, I can assure you it'd be much easier. But that's not the case for most of us, right?
Melinda, how are you doing? If you are free to talk.
Hello? I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm
Okay,
just
we'll
kind of
come back to you, Melinda.
Oh, what?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. There's Melinda and Miranda.
Oh, I
Okay,
didn't.
go ahead, Miranda.
It's Melinda and Miranda.
Oh, did you mean Melinda?
No, go ahead. We want to hear from everybody if possible.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I should put my video on. I just haven't been feeling that well. I mean, I had a good week. I did the 4 days. I usually do 3. I guess I just got a lot of, I know it sounded like I've been really in the mind with all these like questions that I have about dry fasting. I'm going to get my fillings out on Monday. But I guess I'm just feeling a little,
Are these amalgam fillings that you have?
yeah,
How many?
yeah. I have 10 total.
Wow.
And I know, but I figured out a payment plan. I could get 3 done this month. I can do 3 a year under my insurance.
I would recommend muscle testing and do the ones you test weakest first.
Okay.
Yeah.
You mean which fillings?
Yeah.
Well, the appointment's on Monday, and she's gonna do the biggest ones first.
Okay, well, the
That's
biggest
kind of,
ones would be okay, but sometimes there's a small one that you may be weaker than a bigger one, but it's okay. You can do the bigger ones first.
yeah. I mean, I feel pretty confident about it. I'm excited. I think it's gonna help my body. You know, if there's less metal in my body, then maybe my body will be able to heal other things because it won't be combating all this like daily amounts of metal.
There's some people that, you know, in all these years that some of them, you know, they were paralyzed, get their fillings removed and they can walk again. You know, the stories
Wow.
like that, you know, it's because energetically, you have to understand the energetic. Everybody's looking at more of the physical, but it's the energetic side that people aren't paying attention to. So the other thing I mentioned is, you know, what are you filling it with? You know, make sure that's compatible with you. Muscle test it.
It's a composite material called zirconia.
Okay.
So you want me to like ask them if I can hold it and then
muscle test,
like
yeah. See if you
press my finger and my thumb together
yeah.
and just see if they're gonna fill it, and they're gonna do a crown on top of it because the fillings are so deep they have to do crowns.
No, okay.
Oh my God, I had the exact same thing, Miranda. And
Really?
I went with the zirconium as well because it was the most bioidentical to the human body. So it's actually, you know, the best you could do something like that with, you know,
That's good to know.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much. Are they going to do that sucking machine to remove the fillings?
Yeah, they're following that SMART protocol,
Oh,
whatever it is. So it's not like a holistic dentist, but they were aware of that. Well, they followed that when I showed them the website. They're like, yeah, this is all we do. They're actually a mercury-free office. They don't even do mercury fillings there.
Nice. Yeah, I had mine
cool.
removed like years ago now.
Did it make a difference?
I mean, I think I don't know. It's like a combination of everything we do, right? It's all an effort to get you to vitality, in my opinion. So I think it's a step for sure, you know.
I just don't want metal in my body. I mean, I know that it messes up the brain, and I mean it's probably going to be impossible for me to feel a difference because how will I know if it's coming from you know, the fasting or how, you know, it's like impossible to tell where it's coming from. I'm just
if you
exactly
punch in muscle test on, I've shared this dentist doctor who did muscle tests on people, and it was dramatic, the differences. in some people. So, like I said, if you are you going to feel a difference? You may. Everybody's different. I had 5 done almost 30 years ago. I didn't feel any difference myself. I had one big one that I had to put a cap on. I shared that story. They said, no way, we have to do a root canal. I go, no way, no root canal. No, we can't do it. No, I said, just fill it. No, we can't fill it. We can put a cap. Okay, put a cap. And I still have the tooth.
Oh, wow.
Some people would have got a root canal and pulled it. I'm going to
Oh.
say, no, just work with it and try to do the best to save it. I had pain with that tooth for a long time. I had to work with it and work with it and work with it to get rid of that pain. It didn't happen. It took like 2-3 years of pain after that. But I still have the tooth and I still feel it.
That's
So, I see people give up so fast and, they listen to this, that, and the other. Oh, you got to pull, you got to do a canal. Bull crap. Bull crap. Do the best you can to save a tooth. That's what I recommend. Don't do anything stupid, but you do the best you can. If you start getting some kind of infection, everything, try and work it fast for sure, and try and work with it and try to move it out. And if it starts getting to a point that you don't think that it's turning around, then go get some help. But always try and save it. Always, always. You don't want to have fake teeth. It's better to have the base of your tooth at least versus a complete fake tooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know any of that when I had mine done.
Yeah.
Well, I have 10 total. So, and if I get crowns on all of them, that's like having half fake teeth, isn't it?
They're all that big?
Well, no, the 3 that I'm getting tomorrow are the biggest. And I guess I should ask how big the other ones are. The other ones are smaller, but I guess they're so large that she said if I did just a composite, that in time the filling would fall out.
Well, I would do that instead of crowning them. I would ask them to clean it out the amalgam as best possibly can. That there's nothing left, and fill it. That's what I would do on the smaller ones. I wouldn't make them remove all the teeth and do crowns. No way, no way. I tell them. I'll tell them what to do. I wouldn't tell them. I wouldn't have them tell me what to do.
Right. Well, on the big ones, I think it's impossible though, because she said they would fall out.
Too big. But ones that are small.
On the little ones, yeah.
A bit on the big side. I take my chances with filling it versus putting a crown right away. And then many years later, even if it falls out, then you worry about it then.
Yeah. And plus, I mean, the crowns or fillings usually fall out for like meat eaters and people that eat like candy and stuff. Like,
I've had all my amalgams out almost 3 decades ago, and they're all composites except the crown is porcelain. They've not fallen out. That's almost 3 decades, and I've been told the same story. They're not going to last. They're not going to this. They're not going to that. And fast.
They want to make money. Yeah.
So I don't know. You don't have to believe a word I'm telling you. I'm just saying I do everything possibly in my understanding to save a tooth, as much of the tooth as possible. If there's a filling, remove as much as to clean it and fill it. That's what I would do. If it's big, you have to remove and put a crown, yes. But there's a point where you can still fill it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good point. I'll make sure
I have 5.
I
3
check
decades.
it out.
So if they fall out any time, I've got 3 decades.
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest problems I had with my teeth is when I went to high fats. Man, oh man, it almost destroyed myself. But anyway, that's another story.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, yeah, I'm excited about the fillings on Monday, and I feel like I'm getting a little more consistent through either 3 days or 4 days. You guys saw my notes about my update about the 21 hour. That was too long. So I guess
These are your days?
I should, no, I was just going to, I kind of happened on accident. I was like, I just accidentally went past 18 and I was like, oh yeah, I probably should do a long weekly. I'll just see how long I could go today. And of course it feels really good. And then later it doesn't feel really good. So I was just trying to figure out, like, I mean, you guys, I guess, already answered my question, but how do I know how long I should push myself.
What's your daily dry?
It ranges between 13 and 16
Yeah, I would reduce them.
so I sometimes I just keep it 13, 14 daily.
How's that?
Yeah. Yeah, but, you know, the key is, are you drinking enough in the wet window? And that's really not for hydration, as we keep saying over and over. It's for flushing and washing, right? We don't have the understanding of hydration like everybody else. We're washing to
Are you
hydrate.
drinking enough?
I am, but then on the day that I did the 21 hour, my wet window was only 4 hours, and I only got down a liter. I had the TNT, and then like 3 hours later after hot yoga, I was like, oh my God, I felt
Yeah, well, I mean,
completely delirious and like I needed more liquid.
when you do your weekly dry, you want to take it easy. It's just once a week. So you
Do
don't
it.
want to be doing intense exercises.
Yeah,
Take it
don't do it on your hot yoga days. Don't do it when you have to do too much
The
physical
weekly
things.
dry,
Just do it on a busy day at work, and so you don't have to think about it.
you can drink.
And then make sure I get those 3 liters in the wet window. I mean, 4 hours is not enough time.
No.
And you don't feel that thirsty. Like it's kind of hard to drink after you do a longer fast.
Yeah, at least 2 liters, up to 3 max.
So I just didn't do it right. I mean, so going forward, my weekly dries should be like 18 or?
Weekly is 24.
Yeah, your weekly is 24, monthly is 3 days, right? If you can work up to 3 days, or if you can't work up to a 3-day
Just
dry,
do your
you
best.
do a semi-dry.
Do your best.
So I could try again this week to do 24 and just make sure that I get in enough liquid after when I break it. And when I break it, I broke it with the TNT.
Yeah,
Because I'm also confused. Like part of the protocol says
bubbly.
you break it with the bubbly.
Yeah.
So on the day after the weekly dry, you don't have tinctures?
Yeah, of course you can. Sure.
So we do everything the same. Like let's say you break it, we recommend breaking it earlier in the day. So this way you do everything normally. First you do the bubbly, and then you do your tea, and then
Yeah,
you do
for
your juice
a
and
24-hour.
pudding, and so yeah,
It's-
break it earlier in the day so you have time to do a full master fast day.
Yeah.
So bubbly and then wait and then the TNT? Like a half hour?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I haven't figured out how to break it in the morning. I always break it in the afternoon or the evening because it's so hard to sleep like that because you're so buzzing and like energetic.
Yeah, for a 24, we recommend you start them in the
Early.
mornings and you break them in the mornings. If you're doing like a 36, which would be in the future, then you
Mhm.
start in the evening, so you break it in the morning, because then you have the day to do your proper breaking and do all your your drinking and enemas and everything.
Oh, so I've been doing it wrong. I'm always fasting during the day.
Yeah, if you're breaking it in the evening, you don't have the time. You're going to be trying to rush yourself to do all that.
Yeah, I didn't know this. This happened to me in August too, actually, when I had that really bad experience. So I've been doing it wrong.
Written in the
Okay,
article.
Yeah. There's a schedule kind of table, an example.
I'll look of the time.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll look at that again.
Times. But anyway, just it's let go of the mind, and just
you're doing great.
stick to the minimum side of things and just ride with it. Being patient, persistent, consistent. That's all it is. You're just starting. You're
Mhm.
Yeah, like do your best. Do your best to just find the joy with the lifestyle. You're doing
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's getting easier. I'm looking forward more to fasting than eating. So
Yeah.
that's where I want to be. It just makes me so much more tired.
But enjoy the eating as well. Don't let's not say, oh, I don't like the eating. If you're gonna
Right.
enjoy, I enjoy my eating fully.
Are you
Mhm.
making your own? Are you making your own food?
Yes, I definitely am like off of the whole wheat and salt and everything. I'm not into that anymore. I'm just doing all my own food, mostly squash because it's cold here now, and salads. But it's just, I liked what on the last Zoom last week when was it Sarah was talking about how much she's still like the grape juice still tastes the best.
Mhm.
It still feels like nothing else. I'm like, oh, I like all these foods. They're so fancy. And then I'm like, oh, just give me some grape juice.
Well, first she
So
said she
strange.
couldn't stand grape juice.
Yeah. And then now she loves it. Yeah, she came a long way then.
Yep, no,
I know, I
what
feel
it does, it stirs things up and people don't like it. But it's just like, if you've ever drank certain alcohol and you puke your brains out because you got drunk on it and you never want to see it again.
Yeah. Oh, one other question is, yeah, I guess, and throughout this, these 3 days that I've been spending all this time getting out the food that I've eaten over the that's the problem, right? It's like, am I maintaining or am I going deeper? Because I just spent a couple days eating, and then you got to spend all this time cleaning it out. And so how much healing, how many worms? I mean, I saw a couple worms here and there. I'm like, should I be excited about this? Or, I mean, they don't look, they're kind of white.
Don't pay attention to any parasites and all that stuff nonsense. What we're going to tell you is let's look at it this way. Most people eat 7 days a week, right?
Yeah.
And you see the outcome of what happens in that kind of lifestyle. So for somebody who's eating only 3-4 days a week, do you think it's going to be any different than somebody eating 7 days a week?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And that's why, we call it the lifestyle of less is more. We're moving in that direction. And as time goes on, we will come to phases where we're going to eat much less, and we're going to come to phases where we eat a little more. But it's okay. But overall, as time goes on, you're going to notice yourself wanting to fast more and more. You're going to go for more stretches and so on and so forth. This happens naturally over 2, 3, 4 years.
And that's not because you want to cleanse more, ever.
Has nothing to do with cleansing.
Let
go of the cleansing mentality. It's
Oh.
living and loving it.
We don't fast just because you want to cleanse. We fast because we feel much better fasting than eating, right?
Yeah, I'm still a little stuck on like wanting to heal my adrenals and
Forget about it. The body heals whenever it wants to heal.
This is
You
where
just do your
most
job,
people that come to the page, they want to fix something.
Yeah, but
yeah,
do your
it's
best.
hard
You do
to
your
let
best
go of that.
Well, because that's what's out there.
You do your best with you, okay? With you, you do your best. You love yourself where you're at, and you find whatever level of lifestyle and just live it and love it, and your body will do what it needs to do when we are patient and consistent with a lifestyle.
So just because I'm not losing weight doesn't mean, like before when I was doing, like when you fast for a longer time, your body gets smaller. So I feel like it's getting out all the mucus and the toxins, and I'm getting clearer and I'm feeling better. That doesn't happen in 3 to 4 days. So I feel like I'm not really doing much.
Yeah, that's more the cleansing mentality, right?
Yeah.
For the lifestyle. But if you feel like you want to fast more, then fast more days, right? Not because you want to cleanse more. Cleansing is gonna happen the more we fast, the more we cleanse. It's a given.
As long as I don't eat too much, though.
Yeah, of course. Remember, like, it's best to eat within like no more than 3 hours. When we're doing the lifestyle, it's really it doesn't make sense to eat all day. If you
Yeah.
like, let's say 3 days a week, it doesn't make sense to eat all day when you eat.
No, I never eat in the morning, but sometimes I'll do.
I would say 3 hours more than.
Yeah, it's more like 5
Mhm.
to 6. I still haven't got it down to like 3 hours,
That's
but
something you can improve.
that I can change. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%, and you will feel much better. You'll feel also more in control. You'll feel more the cleansing. If you like that feeling, being lighter, definitely. Less hours of eating. So that's something.
Yeah, just that I'm getting healthier, I guess. It's motivating when you feel that, like, and I just have, I don't know, I'm trying to be negative, but
No.
I want to
Mm-hmm.
have better energy and
Focus on how you feel more than anything else. Not the adrenals or this or that, or the mucus or the parasites. Focus on how you feel, because you will feel much better. We know that, right? Lighter than heavier.
Yeah, but sometimes I don't feel that good. So
Yeah,
I don't want to focus on that.
I have to relate with the low adrenals, Rana. My question is like, on my 24-hour dry, I have to relate to you, Miranda, because I really want my adrenals to heal, because I'm like, I don't know. I'm kind of like a zombie. Like I'll go to work, but I notice that I'm just so peaceful and like I'm in sales, so it's like a different vibe that I bring. It's like, hello there, yes.
Are you doing the licorice?
I could do more licorice. That's true. But like I just feel like I don't have a lot of energy on the 24-hour dry. I barely want to move, but I force myself. So I do like an hour walk. And then like just going into my demo bag for work and then coming up, it's like I have to do the acupressure point.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
you're looking at somebody that took about 25 years to kind of figure out what to do with these kidneys and adrenals,
Mm.
to get them to work properly. You're here.
Yeah.
And you guys want it done tomorrow.
No, but you know, like it's just
Well,
hard.
I want to know if I'm on the way.
Yeah, it's like
I can assure you, living this lifestyle is not going to take you 25 years, because this gives you a whole different understanding and a whole proper dialogue with the body when you're cleaning out that GI tract, because there's nothing that cleans.
of course. And you have to think how many years, like so many years of being addicted to stimulants, you know, like I relied on them my whole life. Finally, I can live without, you know, caffeine and like salt,
Yeah,
all these
me too.
ridiculous stimulants. So I guess we're on the path, you know, Miranda, but I have a similar journey to you. And I'm so happy that you always are sharing yours because I can always relate.
yeah. Another
Yeah, likewise.
I would say the weekly gets so much easier after a few weeks of being consistent with them.
Yeah, I'm excited to get into that.
Yeah, so if you're not consistent, of course it's going to be hard the first few times.
The heavier you eat, the tougher it'll be.
Yes, and yeah, when we skip them over and over and over and over, then it becomes, of course, hard the first time you get back on. But after you have them, like maybe after you have done them for maybe 1 month, 4 weeks, in my opinion, it's like you can work, you can do this, you can do that. I wouldn't do necessarily like the hardest exercises when I'm doing my dry fast, which is like 1 day a week. I
Until
wouldn't do
you've
that.
been doing it for a few
Yeah.
years and you're accustomed to it.
Or a few months, and you feel really confident, you will feel it.
And I think I'll do it at the end of my 4 days, obviously. So 3 days master fast, and then the 4th day is dry.
Yeah.
But then don't I go into another master fast day? Maybe it should be the 3rd day.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't matter. It's up to you.
No, the 3rd day should be the 24-hour dry. So then when you said I break it, I'll do the bubbly, the TNT, and that'll be another.
Bit of
Yeah.
liquid.
And then you could drink, and then you could do like maybe a fruit meal at night.
But then that would break my 4 days. I think I would want to.
Well, that's if you did it on the 4. So, but it's up to you. It's however you want to plan it. But for me,
I want the 4th day to be full, and then the 5th day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're gonna do 4 a week, do your second, or do your 3rd day would be dry, your 4th day would be liquids again, and then you go back to food. So it's liquid, dry, liquid, dry.
What happens if I change my mind? Like
Change your mind, try different ways.
No, but I mean the day after the dry, I start with the tinctures, and then by the evening I say, oh, I actually do want to have a bowl of fruit. Does that like waste? Is that like a waste of having the tinctures? Because
No.
Okay. I just feel like I should be intentional. Like when I take them, make sure I'm really going to be on liquid that day, because
No. I drink my tinctures every single morning. Yeah,
even when
I'm eating, I'm fasting. Okay. But sometimes I skip them in the evening if I'm out, if I am eating.
When you're continuously having fasting days every week, your body does not get used to the herbs as if somebody's eating 7 days a week. It's a completely different state. And that's where I say, what are you taking herbs for if you're eating 7 days a week? You're only going to go so far with them. You're going to have to keep changing formulas, this and that. We don't find this in master fast system. Your body doesn't get used to them because you're resetting it all the time. Your body loves to, the herbs love to do their work with an empty plasma vacuum tube. When there's food, they can only do so much. They're working on the energetic side way more than the physicality. So to get into the energetic side, you have to be in that fasting state, and that takes anywhere from 24 to 48 hours for most people, right? The less you eat, the faster you get into the fasting state. So somebody who's regularly fasting in 24 hours, they're in the fasting state. Somebody who's eating a lot, it's going to take them at least 48 hours to get into the fasting state.
Mhm.
So that's the difference. If you live in a fasting lifestyle, you're in that fasting state very quickly.
Mhm.
And that's the beautiful state to be in. And that's what the state I love to be in the most.
Mhm.
Even though I love to eat, I love to be in a fasting state. As of now, today's day 5, I think, whatever, on dry. And, it's the downloads just pour through me in these states. And it's just awesome. And I can never let this uh, lifestyle go myself. I can't. It's part of me.
Mhm.
I can't do it for anybody else. Everybody's got to fall in love with it. Not everybody will, as we've seen. Some people will dread it and curse it and so on and so forth, even though they've gone through remarkable transformations. It's just because they just are not willing to do the extra homework to come to the understanding of what's going on. They want to refuse that, and that's okay. That's okay. Everybody has the free will to do anything they like, right? So we're going to focus on all the beauty in this lifestyle, because the caca, it's everywhere. We don't need any more of that.
We have it inside.
we,
we have enough
we,
inside.
and some of us are going to hold on to some of it, for a while, until we're ready to let it go. It's okay.
Yeah, I feel pretty hooked. I mean, it's hard to explain why, and obviously I have so many crazy, fearful questions I keep posting, and you guys are like, stop doubting, and I'm like, part of me is just
Start
like,
trusting.
yeah, I feel like in this inexplicable faith, because I've experienced it in my own body. I'm like, I get it. My body heals itself. I don't need food. So I can't go back, but I still have questions. So that's where I'm coming from. Like I'm in, but I still want to know like how this works. And it's hard to not be able to explain it to myself. It's hard to love something and have so much faith and still not understand what's going on.
Well, we have the basic understanding, right? V equals P, take away O.
Yeah.
Vitality equals power, take away obstruction. Where you obstruct the body needs to use way more power, vitality goes down. Remove the obstructions, the body has to use way less power, vitality goes way up. That's really the simplified version of it. So we can get into all the intricacies and how it all works, and we're never going to really understand it. But what I've learned in all this time is when you empty out that plasma vacuum tube, the soul does work in autopilot. You don't have to have any thought process whatsoever. It's going to do it anyway, and it does magical things. So why try and pull our hair out to try and figure it all out and dissect it? It doesn't matter, because at the end of it, we're only guessing. We don't know, but we do know that the soul has to, or whatever entity you want to call it, is doing something to direct the body to heal in its own structure, its own process, in its own time, perfectly, all the time. Look at the magic we've seen.
Honestly, the best thing is to just go through the experiences and
Embrace.
embrace this, and like you want to prove it to yourself, and that takes time. It just takes
Through the
time.
experiences.
And whenever you're in doubt, go back to the protocol. Even if you have read it again.
When you come through
Read it
times,
again, because there's tons of information, like 30 years into the protocol, right? So go over it, reread it, and it will help you. Sometimes maybe you read it but it didn't sink in, and maybe the second time, or maybe just the post, Gino's post here and there. Keep reading them, because they do help us change our way of thinking.
Yeah, there's some pieces that I missed, like the not doing the long fast during the day.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty big.
Exactly.
Because I don't even know, because you get so much energy from the long dries, it makes you want to be awake. So I'm wondering, I'm like, sure, I'll try it, but I don't think I'm going to be able to sleep without melatonin. And
What
I know
time
that
do you
that's
go
like
to bed usually, Miranda? Sorry to interrupt.
between 9:30 and 10. I'm like a 10 to 6 person.
Because like I go to bed late, so I can start my 24-hour dry at like 3 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
and then I get to like sleep for most of it is how I view it because I am so weak. And then I just wake up and I go to work and I break it at work at 3. I pack everything with me and then I hydrate all from 3 p.m. into the night, and I'm still like I'm just doing that type of day today, and I'm still
Oh,
drinking, but I go to bed like, at midnight because I don't work like a normal person. I have a delayed.
yeah. I'm a super morning person.
Yeah, so
I
maybe
just,
for you, it's better to, start at no later than noon, I think you used to say, Rana.
Yeah, there's always a way. Just look at the example of how when to fast, what time to start, and
Make it work.
just follow that more or less.
hmm
You're good.
Yeah, you'll find your way.
Don't stress it. Make it work for you. And we have the suggestions there that what I found over all these years is the best way to make it work for me. But for somebody else, somebody works night shifts or something, it's not going to work for them. They're going to have to make some changes to that or whatever.
Small
So
changes.
yeah. But you mentioned about sometimes you're not feeling great, and those are the times you really have to embrace and jump for joy. Body's doing a lot of work.
Yeah. How do you feel now, Gino? Like, since you're up to the 5 days of dry, like, I'm not talking about this week. Like, I'm in general, when you fast dry for this long, are your energy levels really high the whole time? Are you active?
I do a lot of long drives, but there's even depending on what I've eaten. If I've eaten some heavier foods, there'll be a day or two that I get knocked out, like when Inga was here. you know, there was something that had to come out, and I decided to eat that day, which I should have prolonged more drinking and cleansed out, and something had to come out, and it just knocked me out. But these happen, even though you've been fasting for years. But overall, doing a 5 to 10 day dry fast is not really anything special for me because I've done so many. You know what I mean? And people look at that. Oh, okay. It's 30 years of fasting. I didn't do it overnight like everybody's trying to do, and that's where you have to have that patience. And you'll get to that point little by little by little. Every year, you'll expand more and more and more. And then we've seen that the people who try to push themselves, most of them will get in trouble because the body cannot dump all that stuff quick enough when you're in a fasting state, because it's there's so much of these obstructions that are unrecognizable to our physicality, and then we have the mental and emotional to deal with. It's a lot. So we do it in a pace where the body can handle it and the emotions can handle it, and that's really where it's at. And you'll learn over time to expand it little by little, and most of the time when you get to a certain state, the dries will be pleasant. You'll have an odd day here and there, and sometimes you'll do a 10 day and you'll feel great every single day. And then sometimes you'll do a 10 and you're going to have a day or two that you're struggling a bit, and that's okay. But what do? What do I do? On those days that I wake up that I feel like I got hit by a truck, I start moving and start breathing, and, and the energy starts coming back. So.
Yeah, for sure. I relate because even though I only do 24-hour weekly dries, like I don't do a long, like 3 day. The longest I've done is a 48-hour dry, but I
Shame
really,
on you.
pardon?
Shame on you. I'm just kidding.
But even like, yeah, some of the 24-hour dries have been really great. So I'm not
Yeah.
saying I feel like the
Yeah.
worst all the time.
So but what we, as we have in the protocol, allow yourself to expand beyond the 24 hours, even if it's a semi-dry. Believe me, and the semi-dries are powerful too.
You know what
What
I'm
does that
worried
mean?
about though? I get worried that, like, because I failed at level 3 recently. Like I had to break
You
it.
didn't fail.
Well, one of our beautiful souls mentioned, like, well, it's not really a lifestyle if you have to break it. And he was so right. So I don't know. I might have to go down to level 2, but we'll see. I'm trying level 3 still. But yeah, I forget where I was going with that. Sorry, Miranda, you were saying something too.
Or what's a semi-dry?
Yeah, so basically, if you go to the protocol, there are 5 different levels of dry fasting. Yeah, you see level 1, level 2, level 3. Level 1 is like dry, you don't touch
Just
water.
there.
And level 5 is like, and then, it goes to semi-dry and this and that, where you can incorporate tinctures. And then the next one, I think you can incorporate a little bit of
Small amounts of
juice,
fluid.
and then alternate juice and kidney tea.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
then the last level, level 5, is colon feeding. Remember, I was mentioning that. That's colon feeding. So you're washing your colon, but we don't want to do it in less than in more than 48 hours dry. So if you're dry fasting for 48 hours, we don't recommend washing your colon.
Yeah, you don't want to
Like
start colon
breaking
feeding
your-
after a long dry. You want to start colon feeding pretty much
at
off
the
the bat.
beginning, because you can't release much when you wash your colon after 48-hour dry. You see? It's not a good idea.
Miranda, your mic is muted.
I guess I don't understand that part. So you,
Yeah,
I'm
go back to the protocol and reread it. It's
Read it
not-
a few times.
okay. I'm not going to do 48 hours anyways, but you're saying if I wanted to, if I was in a 24-hour, I could do a colon feeding and I could extend it a little bit.
Yeah, like once a month, we recommend 3 days, right? Dry.
Yeah, I want to try to go longer myself, like for that once a month.
We're doing a daily small squeeze dry, a weekly bigger squeeze, a monthly big squeeze, and then a season change really drenching there.
Oh.
Right? So we go 5 days on a season change, right?
Yeah, I'm not there yet.
I'm just saying this is what we work towards.
Yeah, no, it's
Slowly.
good.
There's no
I
rush.
need I need a bigger challenge because it's like I'm not going to do a long fast, but at the same time, I don't feel like I'm really
We
cleaning that much. So maybe longer. That's kind of what motivated me to do the longer dry this week. I was like, I just want to get a good release.
we've had some people that they could barely do a 24-hour dry, and implementing the semi-dry, right? They worked themselves up doing 4 or 5 day dry fast in a couple of years. So this is why we have it structured that way. You have to do it slowly, introduce it
be
slowly. Like,
consistent.
so you
And
get,
it will be easy.
there's people out there who've,
The 3-day dry, my first 3-day dry, I felt like I was dying.
Yeah,
Second one,
I will too.
I had to, the second one, I had to break it. That's on the 108 days. The second one was, I broke it maybe at 60 hours and I just had to break it. And the first thing I released was like very interesting, like probably a big worm or something. Yeah, like it came out half an hour after. I just had to release that. And that's why my body wanted me to drink, right? To flush it out. It's just sitting there waiting for
Well, that's why I think this is so important for me to go longer is because
Yeah, forget
I'm
about
not
the
really releasing that much when I'm just drinking juice and
Yeah.
doing the regular protocol. I mean, it just doesn't feel
no,
that
the
intense.
regular protocol, trust me, it's tough. It's nah, but be consistent. You're not doing the 3-day dry yet, and that's part of the protocol.
Right. But I mean, I'm just doing the full master fast days. There's like a worm here and there, but it doesn't feel like I'm
You have to be
healing
patient.
that deep.
You have to be
patience,
patient.
persistence,
If you want to
consistency.
do to get more results with the fasting, you have to just add more fasting days and less eating days. You will go deeper with that, and then keep your dries always consistent as much as you can. It's part of the protocol, like every week, every day, every month, every week.
You mean don't change the length? Because I'm sometimes 13, sometimes 15, sometimes.
Keep them like you don't want anything more than 15. It's too much.
Yeah, when you're doing the daily, you're just keeping the 24 weekly, you're keeping the 3-day monthly. You're not going to want to be pushing too much on the dailies every single day. It's going to be too overwhelming.
You would get tired
Okay.
easily.
Well, that's where I was going. I remembered where I was going before with my train of thoughts. I was worried about pushing into longer dry fasts, longer than the 24 hours, because it's been like I quit after 6 weeks of level 3 and I started just like eating vegan junk food and stuff. So I was worried that like I don't know if it's my body or it's just mostly, I know it's emotions. So I was worried about going longer on the dry fasting because I only stick to 12-hour daily dries and I do the 24-hour
How
week.
many hours? Sorry.
12.
12-hour daily. I'm very kind to myself. I do the minimum.
That's
Miranda, unlike you, I'm happy with one worm coming out every day. Like, you know, like I don't need more than that coming out. I
okay.
want to go at my own pace, you know.
That's good.
And
No,
24
I
hours
mean,
a
it is
week?
what it is. Pardon?
And you're doing 24 hours a week?
Yeah.
And then a month we're doing
I'm not going any longer than the 24. I know, because when I did the 48 hour, it was part of my 40-day full master fast. And I burned up head to toe and scared the crap out of me. I was like totally burning off so much that I just don't, I don't know. I'm afraid to go there.
experiment with the different levels then.
Okay.
One of these days in the future, we're gonna do a 15-day dry in the dark.
Yeah, yeah. But I will experiment with the semi-dries too. So thanks. I appreciate your question about that, Miranda. That was helpful.
Sure.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Melinda, let's hear from you if you're not busy.
Unmute.
Hi.
Hi.
Sorry about that. Yeah, things are going pretty good. I'm taking things really slowly. So what I was doing before, last month, was I was doing the hybrid just on the moon cycles. So kind of getting into that rhythm. And what I was finding was that by the end of the week, when the next moon cycle would come, I'd be like, oh, thank God, because just more and more food would, I would allow myself more and more different types of foods back in throughout the week. And then I'd go on hybrid, I'd eat the fruit, and then so on and so forth. So now I've gotten to the point where I'm like, okay, I need to step it up again. And I've been watching the Zoom videos and, you know, keeping up with the live feeds. And what I'm hearing over and over is that the food, when you eat, the food really, like, super important for it to be clean. The second people start to eat the cooked foods or the heavier foods, the addictions come back and things just kind of build back up. And that's exactly what I was experiencing this past month. So this year, what I have planned is really to focus on my food challenges to get it to the point where I'm eating fruits and herbs, and I'm going to use all the MFS and be on hybrid full time. So I'm going to be starting the full-time hybrid every day on Tuesday. And since December 1st, every 3 days, I've been eliminating, I say a food group, but you know, whatever food groups that they have on those silly pyramids. And just every day it's getting better and better. And today I had my first challenge. I went to go see my family, and they're, like everybody says, one of the biggest triggers. And I had noticed that even just talking to them on the phone, then almost immediately after I would feel ravenous and I would eat. And then I started seeing this. I would be hearing it on the Zoom calls, and then I would be seeing it, witnessing it, you know, myself, experiencing it myself. I'm like, oh my God, they're really a trigger for me as well. So today, I'm at the point now where I'm eating fruits, vegetables, you know, a bit of hummus, which I'm gonna take away soon too. But so we got there and we were celebrating birthdays. So there's cake out and there's all these things. And I was feeling the anxiety on the way there. They live in Ottawa and I'm in Montreal, so about 2 hours away. So the whole car ride there, I'm like, how am I gonna get through this? You know, and I'm eating my carrots and my hummus. And then when I got there and all the cakes were out, and I could, I could see the monkey mind already starting, oh, well, you know, I haven't really started hybrid full time yet. So does it really count if I have some cake now? And oh my gosh. But because I've been just so drenched in everybody's experiences, and I'm able to see it and stop myself and be like, no, I've made a commitment and I'm very serious about my commitment. And so I ate my dates while they ate their cake. And I got through it. And it may not be huge for you know, a lot of people maybe on this site, because it's more about the fasting days and this and that, but it was a huge accomplishment for me to get through that trigger. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to it. Basically this next year, because I'll just to remind, I guess I'm pregnant right now. I'm at the end of my pregnancy, so I'll be breastfeeding this coming year. And where I would like to be is that my focus is going to be that by the end of the year, I've reached 14-hour dry days and work my way up to 24 hours per week, so that I can jump into one of the levels when I'm done breastfeeding for 2021. So that's my goal. And then obviously keeping up with just working on the clean eating and like really, really focusing on that, because I'd like to be able to go on and off the cleansing, you know, when you jump from the cleanse to the food, that my food I've mastered in the way that I want to be eating.
The whole pregnancy thing, you know, there's not much understanding of that, but what I can tell you is don't be fearful. Learn to listen to your higher self, and there's the hybrid is very good for being when you're breastfeeding. I know there was a woman who shared she was actually full MFS while she was breastfeeding. We didn't recommend, and she said she had tons of milk. You know, you have to have an understanding of what's going on, and you have to have the faith. We're not recommending that, but I'm just saying that when you have these understanding, you have that faith, everything's possible. And the body always works more efficiently with less. That's the known fact, but works less when there's no obstructions in the body.
Right.
When obstructions in the body, there's a lot of work to be done, and the obstructions in the body are attached to emotions. So we do it with baby steps, and we allow the process to unfold and embrace the challenging times and do things prudently. And it's a journey, a lifetime journey. There's no destination. There's no destinations. It'll continuously evolve, like we were talking before. You'll keep changing things and so on and so forth, trying different ways. And it's all beautiful.
That's what I keep in the back of my mind, because I have a tendency with my personality to jump fully in and want to push, which is where I was at when I was doing this lifestyle. Before I got pregnant, I did about 6 months, and I definitely was not doing my homework. I wasn't keeping up with the Zoom calls. I was like, oh, I'm going to do this. I figured it out. I'm going to do it. And now that I'm watching them and I'm listening and I'm reading all the posts, I'm like, oh my God, I was headed for God knows where, because I was pushing the dries, and I was an emotional roller coaster, you know, and I really feel like this was a blessing, because it's allowed me to slow down. It's not a race, and I have to constantly remind myself, like, it's okay that for the next year, even if I'm eating 6 or 7 days a week, but that I concentrate on the things that are going to help me later with this lifestyle, like really setting the foundation for it.
Yeah.
So
I would recommend that never go to 7 days a week eating, no matter what. Never. You continuously work with the dry fasting schedule, and even if you're on the hybrid, right, with the 1 day, the hourly of the day, the 12-hour daily, the 24-hour weekly, and the 3 days monthly. But the 3-day monthly, because you're pregnant or breastfeeding or whatever, you can do them as the semi-dry, or you can do the colon feeding or whatever. But you're gonna have to work your way up to that slowly and allow the process to unfold. Just listen and don't be fearful. People are not going to die when they don't eat for 24 hours.
yeah, I guess where I need to let go.
Have you heard of
Sorry, go ahead.
women that would go through many, many months of throwing up? It's emotion, it's what they call that when they're pregnant. What do they-
Oh yeah, grabby, whatever. It's like really, really. Yes, the morning sickness is so
Morning
bad that they're
sickness.
going all the time. Yeah.
Okay, so my ex-wife, with both pregnancies, she was sick for 5, 6 months, I think, almost barely being able to eat. And babies grew. I have 2 children. Like, you know, the whole thing is just like we're put so much in that fear state, and we're not telling people to believe anything, but when you look at what's out there, the evidence is there, it's clear, answers are in plain sight, like this I like to say. So the body works more efficiently with less obstructions, and to come from a 7-day-a-week lifestyle for decades for most of us, and try to master a 3-4 day a week lifestyle, it's going to take some time. It's not going to happen overnight. That's all it is. So we have many ways and avenues for people to make it work for themselves. But I just shared those couple of stories, like, and also the herbs. Do your homework on herbs while you're pregnant, and which ones that you feel that you may not want to take, and so on and so forth. I have no fear of herbs myself, but there's some herbs that would be wise to stay away from when you're pregnant. Few of them. You know, there's even like parsley, they say. And parsley, people are eating it all the time. But they say it's one of the herbs is contradictory. Okay, so if you feel that's contradictory, don't do it. You know what I mean? You have to feel comfortable. Do your homework. I can't tell people what to do with that.
No, definitely. Well, I've been looking up on the Facebook page, because there's, like you said, there's been quite a few people who have gone through breastfeeding while doing MFS hybrid. I never saw the post for the woman that was doing the
She
full
deleted
MFS.
it all because I didn't like her posting.
Oh, okay. So that's why I didn't see it. But yeah, it seemed like everybody was doing great, and even with the 24-hour dry once a week, it was fine. So that's alleviated some fears for me, because I was really, at the beginning of my pregnancy, I was really in a fear-based, and like I shared last time, I was just miserable. I was bedridden. I couldn't do anything in my pregnancy, and then I started, looking back at the Facebook page and getting back into the mentality of MFS, because I remembered how great I felt before, and I was like, I wonder how, or if I could apply it right now in my pregnancy. And then I started reducing the amount of foods that I was eating, and I eat a fraction of what all the, everyone suggests when you're pregnant, and this and that is just ridiculous. And I'm having a fantastic rest of my pregnancy. It's going so much better, and I'm gaining weight. She's growing. I'm gaining about a pound a week on a fraction of the calories that that they say you should. And I'm doing my breath work. I'm making sure that I get outside for walks and in the sunlight, and using the tools that I know and that I can apply now. And to keep myself in the lifestyle too, I've been purging a lot of my belongings as well. I think over the last 2-3 months, I've gotten rid of 7 big garbage bags of things that I'd walk around and be like, like, why do we have this? Why do we have this?
Yeah.
And it's amazing how I feel like it's made space in my body just from not having those things in my house. It's amazing. So yeah, I mean, there's this, doesn't matter what anybody says, like this whole thing that everybody's talking about on MFS, it's real. It's real.
Dry fasting's dangerous. Stay away.
Yeah, so thank you. Oh, and the other thing that I wanted to mention, I think I mentioned it in one of my posts too, another way that I really feel like I'm staying connected here with MFS lifestyle is that I have my dogs on it. And they do dry fasting once a week, and then the MFS pet protocol the second day. And I have one of my dogs, she's a bit older, and she was a mother like from she was a dog that was what is it? She had like 5 litters in her life. She's 6 years old, so she was a producer, and she's quite overweight. She's had like a lot of mucus and like barely any energy. And over the months, I mean, I've just having her on that, just the 2 days of fasting has made a huge difference. And I'm going to be putting her on the 108 days when I start on Tuesday, my hybrid. She's going on the full MFS. So it helps keep me going in it, you know?
Well, you must have read Rosie's story.
Yes.
Like the dog is still going through transformation. It's just incredible. It's turning into a puppy.
Amazing.
Like it's like,
Amazing.
oh my goodness gracious. This was a dog that they basically said it had 3 months to live. A tumor in the throat, couldn't breathe properly. And you know, people say fasting kills you. Well, when it's time to go, it's time to go. You know, sometimes we've let it gone too far, and the soul says, "Okay, I've had enough here. Bye. I'm jumping the fence." But you know, when you come through this place with prudence and a structure, and you know, have an understanding with what we're doing, everything's possible. Everything's possible, and that's one amazing freaking story that is just awesome. Just
really.
you can't even recognize the dog from the way it was to the way it is now. It's like she even the fur, everything completely changed on the dog. Is it smaller and lighter? Of course it is. And it has way more energy, and it's not dying. You know, I don't know how old the dog is now. I think it's probably about 10 years old or something. But
yeah, I think I read 11. She had just posted.
Okay.
11 years old now. Yeah. Wow.
So definitely a goner if they didn't do anything. If they went through the regular routine medical intervention, the dog would have been a goner, right?
Yeah.
Because the 3 month deadline that's all they know. So whatever they do, they know it's going to last about 3 months. That's why they say that. Because that's what they do. You know, the dog, human, no different. Just dogs, animals are unique because they have short lifespan cycles and they heal quicker than humans.
Yeah, I remember you I've just mentioned that actually not that long ago. I think this week you had said that.
Yeah.
That the dogs they go through the transformation a lot faster.
Yeah, they do. We know, like Michelle's been working with dogs for over 40 years, and she helped put together that protocol, and it's just amazing because from all the knowledge, it's her amazing story. If you watch Michelle's YouTube testimony, what a life that woman's been through, and my goodness, but she's helped so many animals. And she's the one, you know, about giving an animal anima. I never even thought about that one, you know. And she's been doing that for years, you know. So you know, we always learn something every day, and you know, we with all our wisdom and experiences, we put all this stuff together, and we have a pet protocol as well, and it works amazingly for people who work with it, you know. But it's always the people that are coming with, you know, oh, they gave him 3 months to live. At the worst possible times, they don't want to make changes until it's too late, basically. You know what I mean? That's what we see over and over. Same with ourselves. Instead of saying, oh man, you know, I don't feel so great, maybe it's time to make some changes. No, they're going to wait till it's almost too late to try and fix their problems.
Yeah, it's the avoidance. We avoid till you can't avoid anymore.
Yeah, but
yeah, I don't want that for myself.
Is MFS going to save everybody? Absolutely not. But not everybody's meant to be saved. And when people point fingers at MFS, it's just total ignorance, and that's okay because they don't have the understanding. I don't care how many days they've done fasting. It doesn't mean anything. When they start pointing fingers, the mirror's looking right at them because they believe that an event did something to them, not what they've been doing their whole lives and through their ancestors and so on and so forth. And that's a real wake-up call, and we can only elevate these souls to peace, balance, and correct conduct over and over and over again. We're not perfect. We don't have all the answers, but man, oh man, the miracles that we've seen here is just unbelievable. And you know, Sarah's here. She's was 5'4" her whole life. She's 5'6" now. How do you explain that? Master fasting, you'll understand. Diane's got an amazing story. Inga's got an amazing story. Jeanette, Judith, Susan, we're all the hands. We're all, myself, Steve, Rana, we all got stories attributed to living this lifestyle. And are we going to die living master fasting? Yeah, we're going to die. All of us are going to die, of course. Yeah. If that's is something that you fear, continue to eat because you're still going to die. So maybe you want to enjoy yourself eating. That's okay, because we do both.
Well, thank you very, very much for having me speak, and I'm so grateful to be a part of this. So, thank you.
The support system is what keeps us going, and listening to all the beautiful, wonderful stories. It's the only thing that keeps us going. I don't need to be here, guys. Honestly, I don't need to be doing this. We can close down the page and I'll continue my life fasting. I don't need to be doing this. But it was the universe kicking in the butt to share this, and the people sharing is what keeps me here day after day, week after week, month after month, keeping this thing going, because it's amazing, it's wonderful, and it's an inspiration for us. And it's all worth it for that.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful place for us to be. We're going to see people come, we're going to see people go, and that's okay, because we all go through phases of things in life, and that's it. It's all wonderful. So what time is it? Oh my goodness gracious, we're getting up to 3 hours again. It's awesome. Anybody else want to share something quickly, or?
Gina, I have a quick. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Go on.
Go ahead, Judith.
Yeah. Sorry, I just have a quick question. When I do my 24-hour dry fast, we have a cat here, and then the cat always sleep just behind my door when I do. It's only happened when I do my 24 hours dry fast. Do you know what is that? It's only happened that time, and she doesn't like me usually.
Well, you got to animals are very sensitive, and they work with spirits more than we do. So she's sensing something, or he's sensing something for sure. Have you guys read about Salome's cat's long dry fast?
Yeah.
Yeah, 66 days or whatever it was, and she still has the cat. The vet said there's nothing they can do, so she took it home. So, this is. It's amazing. Just keep paying attention to how the cat reacts to when you're fasting, and ask questions, and the answers should pop up within you.
Okay.
I don't have the answer, but they're way more sensitive, way more.
Yeah, Judy, I'll give you an answer on that. That's what what is the difference between us and the animals? We have conscience, they don't. We have intellect, they don't. They have instincts. There's intellect and instinct. Huge difference. We severed our instinct and live on intellect. And that what destroys, that's where everybody suffers, with the intellect. Because we want to have everything explained. We need to have for everything an explanation. Does the cat need an explanation? It lives on instinct. It is an autopilot by the universe, and it lives on instinct. The more we can do that, the more we can shed intellect. And how do you change over from intellect into instinct? It's by going into nature, as we mentioned this many times. And I do. Because then you can rebuild feelings and instincts. You can refuel and rebuild all that stuff. That's why cats and dogs, or domestic animals, all animals, have field strength and have sensitivity that we completely don't have. It's not that we can't get to them, but we just have to open ourselves up to it. But for that, you have to cut the intellect off, because the more you live on the intellect, the less you do that. And that's where you can see it as in this group and all around, where people completely focused on intellect. And that is, again, outcome, environment dictates outcome. When you're in an intellect, you want science, you need all this, you need every Google session that you can have, you need. But where does it get us? I mean, think. And then when you start master fasting and then you understand and you feel all this changing happen towards less intellect and more into instinct and feeling source. Source is so important. That connection to source, nature, is what then makes you grow. And then we go back into our intellect and want to have everything explained instead of letting go. I do this. I'd hardly go anymore on looking at all this stuff on the internet and all that. I said it before. It's not that we don't know enough. It is know too much. That intellect is too, and our desire for stimulation is so overwhelming. But you can turn it around and go back into, as I said, into the field of source. And that's what MFS does. It gets you into the field of source. That's overwhelming because you can't understand that. That's not a table. That's not a mathematical formula. That's not this and that's not that. That's something that, whoa, what's going on? But this endings, this fields, these roots that come into you from source is what you got to let grow and got to let come up into you, or what we all have to do. And that then brings new connections, and you have to interpret that. We can share experiences and all that, but the very connection to source is between every individual and source itself. And that's where you got to thrive, and that's where you got to stay thriving. And the more we do dry fast, the more we do cleaning out, the more we do this, the more we have the chance to get actually that feeling coming into us and coming and growing into us. And the more we become desireless, minimalistic, shedding, not necessary. And I've said it before, and Gina said it earlier on, indigenous. Look, this guy, John Mohawk, thinking in Indian. Massive obese, he died on cancer. Massive obese, but what that man wants to bring across that, what we've been there. We've been there. We've had all this, but we severed ourselves because of the intellect. We want to go further and further and so on, and further along and along. Start source thinking and keep that. Everything else, and there's too many. Look, keep it simple. Even MFS is far too complicated. Even for me, I follow source. I follow feeling. And if it feels good, I'll do it. And I don't have to experience level 1, 2, 3, 4. I do what I feel right, because once you clean out, it tells you anyway. It tells you what's right. And you know when one thing we do all know is when we do things wrong. When we do things wrong, we know 100%. So let the good feeling come in and then live on that. And that's really what you got to nourish. You got to really keep that within and keep it on a daily basis and just let the intellect go. Let that go. Because that is what, and when I even say intellect, look at how you suffer on your employment. Well, at the end of the day, I'll tell you, you will sever yourself from that, because at the end you come to a point where you say, it's enough. I've had enough of that. I can't do that no more. So did I. And many times in parts of my life, that's when you have when the connection to source becomes stronger and stronger and grows in you. And then it's easier to shed as well. We always have our fall-offs and all the rest, because we still live in a society, because reconciliation comes in then, but that's something different. But I'm just saying, so from that point, the intellect is what I see, and I myself is where I got to really work every single day to not follow intellect, follow instinct. Even as little as we have as human beings compared to other creatures on this planet, we have it. And we never, think about how much time do you spend a day following intellect and looking at the next report and have another study and have this. And how often do you go just out in the park? Just be, just connect, just experience. There's a difference. So look at yourself, how much time you devote to that. And if you can learn to, or if you do then devote more to that, it will look after you. As the intellect looked after you, but the intellect doesn't help. Not when you're in an MFS and you try to go to source. Intellect is contradictive. And it is, always and always will be, because it disconnects from source. That is my little thing that I feel very strong about it. And And then I get down, see, I don't get caught up. Oh, do I have to have a semi-dry now? Or do I have to have colon feeding now? Don't worry about it. What do you have to do? Don't eat. What you eat makes you sick. What you don't eat makes you healthy. Oh, let's be healthy. Let's don't eat anything. If it's now a little bit this or that, who gives a shit? Just don't eat. And yeah, fast, follow certain guidelines, what feels right for you, and keep going. Just keep going on that and keep going on that. Instead of, is it now 1.5 or is it now 2 this? Oh, well, I don't know. Well, let it go. Just feel for it, because once you got a certain, and we all here have a level of clean or being clean enough to feel what is right and what is wrong. But we always get torn away from the intellect, or with the intellect back into the consumption, back into justifying. But shouldn't it be like this and shouldn't it be like that? Hey, if it feels good, do it. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. Simple as that. That's how simple I keep it. See, that's how I live really by it, because everything else, have to do another study. Have to listen. I've got to listen to that podcast now, and I have to listen to this and this. And then what do you really gain out of all of that? Until you apply it yourself. And I tell you, and I mean, you got to admit to do. The more you follow your intellect, the further away you get, even from MFS. It is. You because then you question, and every time you question, Gino say, have faith. Have faith in yourself and have faith in your instincts that you're building up. And from there, it's limitless. No more stop. No, only one direction, that's source, you see. Simple as that. Anyway, that's one.
Thank you.
All good, Judith.
Do you want to hear a quick message from me?
Go ahead.
I came through. As you know, it's always something new, and for me now life is unknown every day. I probably have come as knowness, probably that's what I can call, because always something comes new. And as if you started holding me, somebody came with the realization, like I came with the realization of age. Somebody came like we need to live certain age. Now what that brings me to, also we chase energy. In nature, animals eat and they rest. Actually, the energy we're going after, we not need near as much, because look what happens in the world. We think we don't have energy. We have way, way too much, because we are such a powerful beings, and we are creators. We love create. And when we have that amount of energy, what we have, we not know what to do. And we create. What do? We do more, more, more. To come back to yourself, you need less, less, less. So we had experienced so many on MFS. We know we don't need nutrition, but actually we need nothing. Anything we need, we will be given. Absolutely everything. And that is also including energy. We don't need energy, what we're given after. It's actually within each and every one what we need. But we have way too much. And as you can see, that's what happens in the planet. And you know, you have harmed me, and I know I have triggered so many. I don't want to hurt anyone, absolutely no one. But when we believe, we not ourselves. I see now newer generation comes when, like I speak, so many don't have actually belief system now, which is beautiful to witness. I would say newer generation brings more knowing, more connected to themselves home, where you are happy with anything you have. We not need anything outside. It's all within each and every one of us.
The limitless realms are available to all with infinite energy source. Everybody just has to tap in.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, Gino, because I have grown out of so many things, what for me now is accept and allow every single being to go what they need to go through. And I am here for, especially in a group now, anyone I know for time. Anyone wants to come and visit me, my door and my heart is open. You know, and I'm, as I say to you, I'm a bird. I adore like grains, you know, when you, I don't know if that's right word in English, you know, when you can, like seeds. I not eat like, for example, sunflower seeds because they're heavy, but like porridge and all that stuff, I adore with my heart and soul. It must be something to do, which probably is unknown to me, but something there. It's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Life is so interesting and unknown to me now. Absolutely every day. I don't know what's going to be tomorrow. For me, it's no tomorrow. It's here and now.
Tomorrow never comes, it's always today.
You know, and the realization, remember I shared as well to me, but help for each and every one around in presence. I shared, I no need to meditate, and through help from the person in presence, she says to me, and then realizations came true. I'm in a meditative state 24/7 now. That's why, remember, if you were listen, I did say, I don't need meditate. When I meditate, it was bringing me away in this, some sort of energy, or that, what's the word? You know, when you do something and you're not like, it's discomfort. And when I was meditating, that discomfort came in within. And I didn't know at the time. And you know, when you allow this, it just comes to you. Oh, it's beautiful, beautiful. I love each and every one. Love is attachment to me, but that's the word I can translate for understand. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, Inga, I can very much relate to all. I mean, like we are, like, look, at the end, as I said, when it comes from source, and it's again for Judith, even with her parents, you know what I mean, in Rwanda, think about what humanity did and still does in the early days when Africa got plundered by the Europeans and the slave trade and all this. What we introduced as humans, the problems that we've caused, they cannot be repaired anymore. The damage done cannot be repaired. What we've done to Africa as Europeans is irreparable. And all we try to do is then try to find systems, human actions to solve the problem. But you can't. Same here with the with the Aboriginals. You can't solve the problem. It's done. The damage is done. Then all we can do is mitigate. But once we actually go back to source, we can actually forgive, and you can actually restart things. But you can't do it in your human mind. We cannot. What we've damaged, we can't repair no more. It's done. And that's something that is very profound, because then you can see that everything else, you basically just go mad on it. And that's what happens. The Aboriginals go mad here because they get treated the way that they don't want to be treated. Not that they can live again like they did 200 years or 300 years ago. That's forgotten too, because we made sure that we kill enough that all this gets forgotten. And there are things that I'm saying, so the only way to repair that or to change that is go back to source, where they were, where we as Europeans left that a long, 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 long time ago. And that's really the way I see it. So you can only do it when, as a single person for yourself, connect back to source and know that source is right. And human mind and human fantasy will sway you away from it. We'll always try, and that's the way it is. You know, that's why I'm saying that's where we've lost it. I don't know why nature did this, but there's a reason for it. We will never find out. And maybe when you die and so on and so on. But really, that's what it is. So you can only, as a community, we can, every single person has the responsibility, but should go back and connect for themselves to source. If everybody would do that, see, even meditation, don't misunderstand me. I understand exactly what you're saying. But even meditation is a man-made thing, or you have to meditate this way and that way. Sit out in nature and let nature come into you, and then you understand what meditation means, going back to source. Because we desperately meditation try to find source with our human thinking, with the intellect. Yeah, I got to just sit there in the right position and hold the thumbs up and all this, and then all this will happen. But at the end of the day, does it all need that? I've never seen an indigenous person meditating. They have their prayers and their ways of thinking, but when you read Thinking in Indian, they didn't do all that. Just saying, if it's right or wrong, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, trust source, find source, whatever source is. Like we can call it God, we can call it creator, we can all get. At the end of the day, it's source. That's all it is. And that's what you got to find in each of us. Then change will happen, 100%, because it comes from everybody from inside. That's where you're saying the same thing, Inga, you know what I mean? Like, once you're there and it just comes into you, that's where, and that's really, but that's how simple it is again, not complicated. Don't need Einstein, don't need bloody any other formula on this and that. You just got to connect to source. That's how.
I did say to you, Hans-Peter, as well, if you listen, eventually I've been given message also, I'm going to come off the venomous and everything, because I'm going to be there naturally, because it's everything actually within each and everyone is naturally. We've been repressed or been walking away because we want what we get something and it's nice, we attach and we don't want to let it go. But when we let go attachment, there is just everything is.
Everything comes to you, yeah. See, and that's where, like even the system of MFS, I mean, Gina and Rana, they got to go their own way. Everybody has to find their own way. And if you have, like a shoehorn, it's just like a shoehorn lifting you into the level of source. But then source is you and source is within you. And then you got to find your own way. And if we could then connect as a community, and that's what I'm saying, locally, not globally, stuff all this global shit, locally, in a local living, that's where life is. That's where we should be. We don't have to go.
I would say, Peter, Hans, example. Be an example, because you know we feel so good in nature. Nature doesn't really tells you what to do, but you still feel so good because nature is example. That's all.
Isn't that? There's no whiteboard, no computer out there. It's just That's what I'm saying. But there's you know. Look, be honest. Every person, if you go and do a bushwalk or you go in the forest or you go, the more you connect with nature, I find it is never a waste of time. Never. It's never, you know, like religiously, even if you go now with the kids back again into do some bushwalks here, and even in Sydney, in the middle of Sydney, there's fantastic stuff that you see and experience, but you have to open up. Not, let's just shoot through. How quick can we go through this now? How quick can we do this? Nah. If I feel good at somewhere, let's sit here for 10 minutes and just let that come in and let's just let that grow in you. So that's how simple it is. It doesn't need a butterfly seed and another this and that and that. No, just sit on a bench. Look at the stupid trees that nature's put there for us and enjoy the company and enjoy the sensation. And the more you do that, the more you think, oh, actually, I like that.
And
the
I
more
just
you
want
start-
to,
yeah, you shed
I'm
other
sorry.
things. Yeah.
I just want to say to the group, because this is wonderful, 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 powerful group. And if that feels right for you, go and do experience Master Fast, because if you allow it, that brings back your home, no one else's. And where else you can feel better than your own home? You know, be gentle, be kind to yourselves, because we are so much in our beautiful mind. We can just push away and we can so exhaust and being so hard on ourselves. Love, being gentle. It's just, life is so, it's honestly, no matter what's going on in the world, when is the peace within, it's just that everything, it is. I cannot prescribe that wonderful feeling what's within me. And I do love each and every one now.
But you see, that's where you only through participating within yourself and doing this, you get to that state.
Yeah.
You have to do that. That's that. You can't even read that. You just have to, follow guidelines, and then really you have to open up within yourself and really let that make that your main. Remember, I said growing your backbone again. Grow a backbone of source, and that build on that every single day, because then you can stand and make decision and say yes or no to whatever is destructive to you. You have to learn to shed. And the more you work on that, and the more you really confront yourself with that, the more you will then make a decision in the direction to source and not to give in on that. But it's a process. As you did that for, Inga, it's just a daily thing. But the more you do it, even I find it easier and easier and easier. So if somebody rings and says, mate, don't worry about it. Don't ring me any further, because it's I've changed directions, buddy. We've gone together. Our ways are parting now. We might come together. Hey, never say never. But at the end of the day, I'm going that way, and you're going that way, and that's fine. You have a good time. Stay where you are, and so on, so on. So there are things that you have to do on a daily basis, or that come and they have to grow in you. And of course, you can't go and radically change everything in one day. That doesn't happen. That's destructive. But you let the source grow in you, and decision will become easier and easier. As you said, minimalistic. You know what I mean? Like, no.
Nothing. You know, I need nothing.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah. So that's where and you can see then the agreements too, and then you know that we're like-minded, and everybody has still their own little this and that, and that's all good. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a journey.
You as I said, direction is there. The direction is there, and if everybody would take on that responsibility on themselves and not questioning with the intellect everything, faith, as Gina said, have that faith, build that faith, and stick with it.
But it takes so probably much for you to take power back, because when you take your own power back, there is no one to blame. You know you are creator, and you know like what's happened. It's for, and more we bash anyone, we need to experience that through our own being, and if not through ourselves, it's through our children, through our grandchildren, whoever is in your presence. For me, doesn't exist ancestors. I'm not saying anyone there isn't, but personally for me, that is another trap. So many people I believe, because somebody had that experience and they think that's them out. For me, there is no ancestors. There is no previous lives. I probably, as I say, I so connected to the nature, in the water, trees. I don't necessarily now need to go in nature to do that. It just happens to me from, as you say, out of a pilot state. you know, they're just so connected. And it's wonderful to help and witness where each and every one, because it's a growth. As you can see, there's growth together. We open together, and by only giving and sharing, that happens. And challenging, because when we challenge, we do open. When we feel good, we don't know other side. And it's a beauty. We just don't want to feel that, but it's absolutely awesome when we challenge each other. That's where openness happens.
Yeah, right behind you there. And everybody has their individuality. You see, everybody has still their own way of expressing this, or having just experiencing it differently, you know. And I think that's good to exchange. But at the end, really, it's within you. You know what I mean? Look, peace can only come inside you. I can't get peace into you or into anybody else. I can only have peace in myself. And when you have peace inside yourself, you know, and you feel when somebody else has peace as well. And then you know that you can be together and you can go and move into the same direction easily, you know. But if you don't build that peace inside yourself to source, very hard. I mean, look at the world. It's in a mad rush to destroy itself. That's all it is. Yeah, simple as that. Grading, I love it. I love it. Let's see. We don't want to do the time record here, Gino, either, eh?
Exactly.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. We're over 3 hours. We'll
It's
continue.
3:00 a.m. in here.
It's all wonderful, but we'll continue it next week. Is there an interview next week? I don't think so. Yeah, we can continue. All right, so thank you everybody again for joining.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Good night,
everyone, so
everyone.
much.
Thank you.
Another marathon.
Love, gratitude to all of you.
I love
Ciao,
you
ciao.
all.
Thank you,
Bye.
guys. Bye.
Bye.